Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. Thanks for being back. So good to have you with us. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe down here to the podcast and share it on social media. That's what we love. We want to grow the podcast. And today we got our very first guest. He's a very good friend, and I love him very much. He does a lot of comedy, and he's Matt Taylor, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for him.
Hey, it's me.
We love Matt Taylor.
Thanks for being here, dude.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, it's the first time doing guests, so I don't really know what the fuck's gonna happen. But do you curse? Are you a curse guy?
Yeah, but I was listening to your podcast earlier, and we have to wait like 10 minutes, or else you'll get demonetized.
I never do
all
it.
the money coming in.
All the money coming in.
So I don't want to ruin that for you, but
it's no, I curse. I never can do it. I'm a person that curses, and I wish YouTube would just get over it. And do you do clean?
That shit's dumb.
Is your act clean on stage?
I do both.
You have, so you got to do both.
Yeah, I do church shows, and then I'll also do a blue room.
You do church, you have done comedy at churches?
I've produced church shows, yeah.
How does that normally go?
Some were good, some were the worst shows I've ever done.
What are the fans, what's your experience like dealing with fans after a show at a church show? Like, what do they say to you?
I think they're just happy to get out of the house.
Really, most of them are excited. Do you ever get people that are offended at a joke that you told?
Yeah, and the thing is I have a Bible joke that I think is hilarious. Like the way I've structured it and put it together is great, and it does way better at like dirty shows than it does church shows because the whole time they're like, "Where's he going with this?"
In the church show,
it's not biblically accurate.
Oh,
and
they're judging the aspect.
Like, I get that like these people weren't in the same time frame, but just work with me.
Oh, so you're using characters,
blasphemy.
But it's not like that. You're like, you're being blasphemous.
Yeah, I'm using like characters in the Bible, and I'm putting them in one situation.
Okay.
And like some guy was like, he's like, Moses and Jesus weren't alive at the same time, right? I was like, yeah, no, I'm not stupid, dude. I'm just using it for the joke.
Like I'm doing, and that's the thing. They're like, well, he's lost me. That's it. Now, some guy, you get a heckler. He's like, Joshua wasn't even there, bro.
Yeah,
he's like, that didn't happen.
He wasn't even alive yet. And I'm like, well, we're gonna get along.
He's like, Lazarus was 900 something years old, but he wasn't even there, dude.
Yeah, you're way off.
Church comedy is weird when it comes to the club because it's like they're coming into an environment that they don't. It's like sinful. Did you grow up Christian or anything like that?
Yeah.
My granddad used to take me to church, and we would never go eat places that served alcohol after church. So like if it was a place that had alcohol at all, he didn't make it a big deal. But we just realized, like, I think somebody told us that, and when we put it together, we're like, oh yeah, we always go places that we never go sit down somewhere that has alcohol. So like sometimes a whole bunch of Christians, they come see a Christian comic at the club. It's like the club is all about like, we're making you buy this alcohol.
Yeah, alcohol sales.
So they always
$2 minimum.
It puts them on their heel, like they're playing defense. They're like, well, where am I? And if you go to a comedy show, it's like sometimes 90 minutes before the show starts, and then even another 30, 35, 40 minutes before you're seeing the guy that you came to see. So there's all this time where they're like, where am I? What am I doing here? I'm at church, like, and it's right, like you say.
This is how I'll spend my Wednesday.
That's funny that you say they get excited to see a show and just be out of the house because I bet a lot of church-going people, they just go to church and go home and go to work, go to school, go home. I think that's a lot of people. Maybe that's just a lot of people in this country.
I think I think you just summed up America.
That's most people's lives.
Work, go home.
That's great. Yeah.
Contemplate suicide and then go back to work.
That's a common theme on this podcast is contemplating suicide, I think.
Did I already bring it into the first
it's already
5 minutes?
I'm trying to give it up. I had a phone conversation with somebody. I'm like, man, I'm not getting a ton of traction. It's not doing horrible, but it's like, but I'm also talking about like Epstein and the Clintons and killing myself. And I'm like, well, maybe I got to give that up. Maybe I got to stop. And then it's like, well, let's talk about church. Let's get the Christian. And then it's like, well, if I'm not going to church, I'm thinking about killing myself. I guess that's what hey, that's what we love
on the podcast. Shit, dude.
Well, that was a good 5 minutes.
All right. Well, we got suicide out of the way.
Than's for coming, Matt Taylor. It's so good.
I'm going to go kill myself.
We were going to talk about comedy. We're going to talk about whatever. I'm just glad we talked for 5 seconds about church, and then we're just going to end it. I'm sorry I had you drive here in a hurricane, by the way.
Dude, I don't know what it is. Every time I do a podcast, the bottom of hell drops out of the sky. The last time I went and did one was coming down 24, and an entire tree was when the derecho hit. Derecho.
What is that?
The
Is that
strong wind that came through like Nashville and Smyrna
the
and Antioch.
strong wind? Is that
It's
Spanish
just a
for
long,
the strong wind?
Yeah, I think it's Spanish.
That's
if it's
awesome.
American, I just said it's Spanish, and they're like, "It's wrong. You should."
I hope it is literally translation for the strong wind. Derecho.
I don't know. That's good.
That's awesome. So, but that was
blew like a tree over the interstate, and I was like, "Well,
like
I'm
in
gonna be
front of
late."
you.
Like right in front of me, probably like
Jesus
3 cars in
Christ.
front of me.
You saw it happen. It was
Like you see this car slam on its brakes, I slam on mine, and you just see a tree go shoot.
shit like that is always incredible to see in the car. I was driving home from the studio one night. I used to intern at the studio in Franklin, and I saw it was starting to get about the storm, and every transformer blew up on the side of a road for like half a mile. Like as I'm driving, it's like.
Oh, that's wicked.
And they're all blowing it. It's like a final destination thing. They're just
and it's just getting closer to you, every single one.
Yeah, but it's like all on my left side as I'm going. It seemed like I outran it after a little bit, but it was like 4 in a row as I was driving, and then it was like a
final
bunch.
Destination.
I was
just
like
trying to get you.
The poles are gonna, the cables are gonna start coming in.
And you got a log truck right in front of you, and yeah.
I've never even seen those movies, but they make me so.
That reference means
no.
nothing to you.
I had this conversation with somebody the other day. I feel like I didn't even have to see them. The trailer is enough. It's like a roller coaster. You're on it. You're on some list. You're next.
Yeah.
It's like if you somehow escape it, they just skip you, right? Isn't that the deal?
I don't know, but I feel like whoever created those movies has like the worst OCD or like anxiety ever. So to think of that, like you're constantly thinking about ways that you can
what
die.
can happen to me?
So like every day, it's just like, oh God, what if I'm in a tanning bed and the bulbs heat up? Or something and cook
something
me?
happens, like a road.
Yeah.
It's a automated one, and it clamps down. It can't get out. It burns me alive. I've had a bunch of. Maybe I could have written that movie. That's maybe why I don't feel like I need to see it, because I feel that way all the time about. You ever see the semi trucks that haul the other semi trucks backwards on the interstate?
Yeah, I like to when we're on road trips, if somebody's sleeping, I'll get behind them as close as I can and try and wake them up.
You wake them up and scare them. I did that to a girlfriend one time. It scares me, but I
That's your ex-girlfriend now?
Ex-girlfriend, for sure.
That makes sense.
You know, she's never coming on the podcast. She'll never listen to it. But
she never listened in the first place, right?
She never listened. That was the problem.
It really wasn't.
I mean, maybe I wouldn't scare you. You know, I'm going on a date on Monday for the first. It's a quarantine date.
Nice.
I mean, I was anxious to ask to go on the date. It's somebody that I was meaning to reconnect with.
Yeah.
And it was just like, this just seems like a weird time to be like, because you're only given, you don't know where someone's at. And it's like, it's safer if we go to each other's house. But there's all that implication. You know what I'm saying? But there's that implication of like, if you ask somebody to go out, but like, we should hang out at somebody's house, it's like, there's implication. So I didn't want to do that. So I was like, should we go? I was like, leave it. So I guess we're going to go out. We're going to go out somewhere. We're going to show up with our masks. I don't know yet. I asked, she lives on West End in Nashville. We live in Nashville. Do you know, or you live in Murfreesboro, but I live in Nashville. You spend enough time here. You know what's going on.
Sure.
Do you know, what do you think's a good afternoon 3:30 date? I chose a 3:30. I was like, let's go with a half hour time. You know, let's make it a little more casual.
Is it ever too early to throw axes drunk? Is that a thing?
Throw axes? No, she's not an act. She's not gonna like the game.
She's not a lumberjack. All right.
No. She wants to just probably have.
I mean,
somewhere we can hang
parks out here, right?
Go not outside. We don't want to go outside.
You don't want to go outside.
We want to be inside.
You want to be inside.
I know that. I know she would like. If I plan something where we're going to be outside, she's not going to like it as much. So we're not throwing axes. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm shooting down everything you got.
Dude, I don't know why you're asking
This is
me.
where
I've
you
been
would go.
single for like 5 years.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Me too, dude. That's the problem. That's why I'm looking to whoever will do it. Whoever will give me advice.
Maybe that's what this podcast is all about. Finding out where David needs to go.
What do I have to do? Well, I know I got to start making money with the podcast. I got to find a place to go on Monday for a date. I got to start doing stand-up comedy again. You've been doing a lot of stand-up comedy through the quarantine.
Yeah,
which nobody's been doing.
Yeah.
I'm digging. I'm like we talked about being on camera before the podcast, and it's like sometimes I feel like I'm still in this place where I'm working with the camera where I'm like, I'm like, don't let them know what's going on, dude. You got to move quick. Make it quick. And I probably did a great enough job.
I think you're killing it. So
thanks. Thank you, dude. Well, 10
like
people
I watched the
might
ones
feel
before,
the
and
same.
I'm like, I don't understand how he can talk for 55 minutes and make sense the entire time.
It's going on all the time. That's the secret. You know how the Hulk is like, I'm always angry? That's his thing?
Yeah, I was thinking Hulk Hogan. I was like, did he say that?
He's like, yeah, brother. He's like, I'm quick
always
with
mad,
that.
brother.
He's like, hey, brother, I'm always thinking about stuff.
Pissed off. I was thinking and pissed.
That's what he said right before he said the N-word on wherever he got canceled
Did
from.
he really?
Oh, that's why he's not a good guy anymore. It's because
Hulk Hogan's not a good guy?
No. Hulk Hogan is a racist guy now.
What?
You need to know that going through the world. Yeah, Hulk Hogan. This has been years ago. He did a. If I was quicker on the sticks, I'd show you a video. But
people used to always say I look like Nick Hogan.
Nick Hogan, that
when
guy
I didn't have a beard.
Do you know about his downfall too? He just got exposed as like an idiot. He's just dumb.
Well, then we have that in common.
You're not dumb. You're a smart guy. I like you. You wear glasses like me.
Well, yeah.
We just kind of look like different versions of the same guy. I always like guys like that, where it's like we're just white guys with glasses.
We're like different characters. We're the same character in Mortal Kombat, but with different outfits.
Yeah, like different skins.
Yeah.
It's like this guy was 1997,
it's like, you wonder what he looked like
and
with
this
brown
guy
hair
was like
and a
2008. That's so funny. But stand-up comedy, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, right.
That's what we want, though, on the pod. That'll give us longevity, is to get on these little rants. So we'll divert.
Okay.
We gotta entertain.
I mean, dude, it's very educational.
We'll
I just
divert.
found out that Hulk Hogan is a raging
Oh,
racist.
yeah. Let's get away from that as quickly as we can. No, we should
I'm
talk
gonna
about it.
look into that, though, after
You have
this.
to look. I think he was on a voicemail or an argument with his wife.
Oh, he
and-
did like a Mel Gibson thing?
Yeah, and he was like he dropped it a bunch of times. Forgive me if that's incorrect, but yeah, he was like it was a big deal, dude. And he's because he was a childhood hero for so many people, an inspiration. He come out and he tear his shirt off, and he was like on lunch boxes, and he kept kids off drugs or something. I don't know what he did in the 80s, but
Damn, and he was an inspiration for a lot of black kids too.
yeah, I bet there's some people that hopefully are like you that never found out, because I want them to know.
That's crazy. I've never heard that.
Yeah, dude, I wouldn't say he's like a big racist, but he
he
said the N-word a lot of times.
Like
So
hard?
Yes, yeah, hard, dude. It was not good. Yeah, it was not good at all.
I don't know why I'm trying to save Hulk Hogan. I don't care about him.
No, you don't have to. Nobody's saving Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan is done. It's over. His body's he's getting old. He's just got the same haircut. That's all he's got left. He's got a wave
got the
runner.
skullet.
That's all he has. But anyway, your stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
No, a lot of people, have given up doing stand-up in the pandemic because it's been almost
Yeah.
impossible. I don't publicize like what I do for work on the podcast, but I'm always in a comedy club. I'm always doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel like you've been able to do stand-up comedy? Like, what's it been like to do it at this period in time?
It's all comics. I mean, you'll be lucky to have 3 regular crowd members.
Are all these shows outdoors that you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, Smokes and Jokes, we still do indoors, but everybody has to wear a mask. They check your temperature when you walk in. You got to sanitize your hands. I sanitize the mic between every comic. But then we have that dirty laundry mic. It's outdoors. Same thing, sanitize the mic after every person. Mask recommended, but...
How does that go with the mic? You host?
I host, and Christian Hanna, it's his venue.
Okay.
That dude is something. Like, he's a audio engineer, major graduate. And so in between every comic, he's like switching out the mic and like already.
So he's
has
got one on
He's got
standby.
gloves, yeah.
He has like a rotation of 2 mics where he's like cleaning one and one's up, and then when he trades them out, does he like hand it to you as you go on as the host?
No, I have a whole separate one off to the side.
Oh, so you
I'll
have a
grab
third
mine,
that's
go up on
always
stage,
yours. Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
It's literally, I call it the cleanest dirty mic.
The cleanest dirty mic, and it's the laundry room open mic. Is that correct?
Yeah, the dirty laundry open mic at the laundry room venue.
Dirty laundry open mic at the laundry room venue.
Yep, you can follow them at laundry room venue. The laundry room venue.
The laundry room venue on Instagram.
On Instagram.
On
yeah.
Instagram.
Or you can just follow them. I'll give his address out. I don't care.
And your other, you can go to his house. I don't care. I'll give you the venue.
yeah,
It's on the internet.
Yeah.
So, and then the other one, Smokes and Jokes. You guys are doing. I saw you did a run of some outside shows at like a farm.
Yeah, we did it at Sinking Creek Farm. We tried one just to see if everything gets shut down again. That way we can keep it an outside venue. And now that's transitioned into a show that's going to be the last Thursday of every month called Comedy by the Creek.
Okay, so you're doing a new, that's separate from Smokes and Jokes. You did one smoke, and so now you're doing Comedy by the Creek at the Sinking Creek Farms? Sinking Creek Farm.
Yeah, they corrected me on that too.
Oh, they got you. They were like,
Yeah.
hey, bro, it's one farm.
They're like, it's
okay.
not plural.
It's singular farm.
Because apparently somebody else is Sinking Creek Farms.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
That's
so
a horrible
it's just
thing.
farm.
What if somebody started the My Rooms podcast? I'd be like, I'd be so upset.
Also,
I'd be like, dude.
Also, the dude clearly has more rooms than you. So
Yeah, that's like a big flex. He's like, I will do it in different rooms. Thank
my
you.
multiple rooms podcast.
It's a big quarantine. It's like you're in a separate one. There's a glass studio wall. I'd be
and
like
like
this
every
fucking
episode,
guy
he has it recorded, but he's like, all right, gotta go. I'll be right back. I gotta go to my other room.
keeps
He's like,
adding more rooms.
damn.
There's more rooms. He's like, let's go into this room. And
Yeah,
there's
he's like-
cameras. They snap and they're in a different
Yep.
space.
He's like,
I'd fold. No, I would stick. I'd be like, one's better. I'd be like Sinking Creek Farm, where you can see live comedy on a
Yep.
Thursday. Which Thursday of a
the
month?
last Thursday of every month.
And that's just going to be moving. Just here moving forward. I like you were like, it's
Yeah.
really good. Dude, those show lineups are going to be great, though, because I know
Yeah.
that a lot of comics are not having work right now. And they're one to get out and do comedy. Like, we did a stretch of the shows at Zany's. We did like 3 weeks.
And then
Yeah, we talked about D.L. Hughley almost dying on the podcast. I've talked about it. It's on an earlier episode.
It's all right, yeah.
I'll talk about it as many times as anybody wants to talk about it because
I
it
mean,
was
you
one
saw
of the
it in
most.
person.
It was one of the most insane, but it's like when somebody tells you they're in a car accident, but they were completely. It was like I was calm. Nothing was like that crazy. I don't know. I talked about it before, but I was like pouring sauce onto food in a room not where the show was happening, and something happened.
Oh, you didn't record it?
No. Oh my God, that is so. You just saw a reaction out of me. I was so glad that was on camera. The fact that somebody recorded it had me so hot. I was very, very upset.
I'm not gonna lie. Obviously.
I
you
hope
didn't
other
put it
people
out.
don't think that.
Like when I saw it though, I was like, "Is that from the booth?"
Very close. It's
Some like the
where I'm
upstairs
from.
over to the left.
That they were. You see, they're filming a TV before they point to the stage. I'm on the other side of that TV, so they're like right here, and I'm like 10 feet away from them.
Yeah.
But I'm in another room.
Okay.
So they're like, I was in the front office pouring sauce onto my food, and I just got this sense of like, I heard him doing his act.
You feel like the crowd get weird?
I heard the crowd get kind of silent and kind of do a collective like, it was like a quiet like what kind of.
Oh yeah, because he said something and was just like.
Yeah, well, he was just kind of riffing, talking, and then he says immigrants. He said something about
Yeah, it was like-
immigrants.
I was like- 'cause
and
I was
everybody
like,
goes, what? But I can't hear what he was saying. But when you're in that environment so much, like, you kind of feel, I'm sure you've been, like, if you're at a show that you're on, but you're outside, and the crowd, something's going on, you can kind of feel it. You're like, something's going on in there. So it was crazy how time went, because by the time I got into the showroom is right when the guy was coming up the stairs to grab him as he was falling. So right then I ran up the stairs to the booth. And yeah, have you seen the video where I come on the mic at the end of the thing?
Hey, everybody, everybody take calm. We could be good back in a minute.
Everybody just make comments. Everything could be cool. And that lady's like, "Yeah, right." That
Like,
lady
I think
roasted
he just
me. That lady roasted me so hard. I'm glad they played that video on Rogan, and I'm so glad it cuts off right before my voice comes on.
Oh, you almost made it to Rogan.
But then Jamie was disappointed, and he goes. And he's like, somebody comes on the mic and he says, he interjects and he's like, some guy says everything. And Joe Rogan goes, he's like, you know, I have shit under control, bitch. That's what he said. And I was like, but he's right. All that I saw was that the host carried him into the green room, and I knew the feature, and I was like, no one's coming back to talk to these people. I don't know what's about to happen. They just saw a guy maybe dead. They don't know what happened. They need to hear a calm person's voice. So I was like, doesn't matter what I say.
Great.
I was like, just say something calm. So I just said it, and then I played Lean on Me by Bill Withers, and that's not in the video.
I mean, the way he was leaning on that stool. That would have been a great time for you to plug your podcast, though, by the way.
I don't even know if I'd...
Because you could have plugged it on Rogan.
Oh, yeah.
Like, all right, everybody, we'll be right back. Also, if you check out My Room with David Chasteen,
dude.
it's on all streaming platforms and YouTube, so...
I should have been on way quicker as soon as it came out and be like, My
Perfect
Room.
plug
Well,
moment.
I didn't know someone was recording. And then we were...
You never know. You got to be ready all the time to promo your shit.
We found out while we were still at the club, because we had 2 or 3 shows that night, and we had to cancel. It was in the first show. So we had to tell there were people coming. We had to call all them and be like, hey, no shows. And then we had to cancel the rest of the weekend, obviously. And then after that, because he tested positive for COVID.
Yeah.
So on
It just
top of
kept
it,
getting worse
already
for
is
him,
the
dude.
craziest. That night, people were like, we'd been open for 3 weeks and things were going good and we're following protocols. We're like,
Comedy's
everything
back.
We were kind of like, and it was nice. Like normally when I worked at the club for a long time, and normally when you're at any job, you've been at it for a while, the days will kind of drag on and you get in a little monotony of work. But because we'd been off for a couple weeks, I was like so excited to be there. The days are flying by. I'm enjoying everything. I'm so glad to be around people, even though it's like a lot harder work getting people in and the COVID stuff. But
yeah, I bet.
And then we're all sitting there having a drink at the end of the night, and we're like, man, how crazy would it be? Because it's a comedy. We're all jokers. We're like, what if he's got COVID and we'd all not a bunch of us been around him, but maybe me and a server, the booker, the manager, the owner, we had been around him directly. And then we'd been around each other.
And then you're like,
and then the next day somebody like woke me up and they were like, and then I think I knew he had COVID before the news. I think someone told me because they were like, we don't know what's going to happen. You got to get tested.
He was asymptomatic, right? I mean, aside from passing out on stage.
I don't know. I've heard mixed stories. I've heard people say, I've heard that he was at home passing out days later. He also said I don't know what happened. He said he was going to quarantine in the hotel, but then I heard he was home right after that, and then he was passing out at home again. I don't know what happened. So I don't really know. But he was he's just a diabetic, you know? He's just a guy that's like he drinks a little bit. We also did like the way that he wanted to do shows, he would do. You're a comic and it's probably been you've been on the road, so you know, like if you're doing a Thursday show or something, you're probably traveling Thursday to get there. Yeah. So he normally likes to do his one show Thursday, and then if he has to add shows, he'll do them on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But because of COVID, we couldn't add the shows the way he wanted to. So I think we had to do 2 shows on Thursday. And he was like, he's tired from flying, and he's, you know, who knows if he'd even been out of the house. So he's probably not acclimated to even like, I found myself like when I went back to work, I was like, I don't fucking walk anymore. I sit in a chair all day. So like I try to run, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, and he went out there and did those shows, an hour of comedy after having all the time off, and he's getting older, diabetic. That's probably more what it was.
Yeah, he just exhausted himself. That's
it probably could have happened anyway, you know?
That's what Michael Yo was saying, because apparently he got hit real hard.
Well, what happened with him is he
just ran himself to the end.
That's a really good point, actually, that I hadn't considered. Maybe DL got it because of the traveling and the being worn down and all that stuff. That might have been how he actually got it, because that's how Michael Yo got it. He was like, he flew to New York, did a bunch of shows, went and did this, flew back to LA, did a bunch of auditions, getting no sleep, back on a plane, doing this, filming like a live at Gotham or something, and then he just like, bam, it hit. You could get, as a comic, you could get the flu or anything like that. So with this going around, that doesn't surprise me at all. It's just crazy how we're learning, like, going forward, I don't know if we should be still not doing anything, you know?
You got to get your sleep. Look, at some point you got to live, otherwise it's going to drive you mentally insane.
I know. You got to get back out and start doing stuff safely, you know, like doing something.
Don't be an asshole. Like, wear a mask wherever you go. I have a theory, and I'm not a doctor, so don't
take it however you want
to this. You can edit this whole part out. I think it's pretty much statistically way lower of a probability of getting it outside. Because the one study that I've read is about getting a viral load. And when you're outside, I guess the wind and the atmosphere just disperses the load enough that you can't really inhale enough to get... Like, you have to... in the study, like, you have to get a certain amount to be infected. So when
you
you're
have to
sitting
be
in
around
recirculated air, like with the choir group or the people that were working in cubicles, and one side of the office got it and the other side didn't.
Oh, I hadn't heard about that.
Because they were running on 2 different AC units. So one was just circulating it back and forth, and like that whole side pretty much got it, and like 2 people on the other side got it.
Was that able to actually be, I mean, maybe not proven, but that was something that you saw?
Yeah, and then the choir group, like everybody was in a small room singing at the top of their lungs for 4 hours, and I think... don't quote me on this, but like 90% of the people there got it.
I love the bro science though. This is the
facts,
lowest grade.
Too,
this is not bro science as much, because you said words like viral load. I don't even know what that means, dude. But I'm
surprised I could say viral load and not look at the camera and go.
It was nice. It was like, I think I did. I might have. I started laughing. I was like, don't say nothing about it. But that's so crazy. The thing about the people with the air conditioners on their sides of the office. That's wild, dude. To be like, if you're right there with it, of course, that's... Dude, I don't know. I'm not around people. The thing about me, my job in particular, when I'm at the comedy club, I scan everybody's tickets. So I literally, I'm like within like...
Yeah, and you're...
Me getting close enough to touch your phone with everybody. And I wasn't that worried about it. The only thing that messes with me is I had the real flu in December, like really bad, and I had to go to the hospital. And I'd never been sick like that in my life.
But you tested positive for the flu?
Oh, okay. Yeah, they tested it. Because when I get sick, I don't go to the doctor. Like, I never go to the doctor. And this got to be like, I work like 6 days a week, and I had to miss 3 days a row of work. And if I have a cold or a sinus infection, like, I won't miss work. Like, I can be doing pretty poorly, and I'll still be at work. Which is probably now I'm reassessing if that's a good idea. But before this, I'd be like sick and going to work. But this one was like I felt so bad I didn't know what was going on, so I went to the doctor, had the flu, and I just don't want to get I don't want to get sick.
You don't want to get that
for
sick
2 weeks.
Again.
Also, I know I can't be around people, and then I don't want to be dishonest and not tell people I've had it, and then I don't want people to treat me like a pariah. I'm doing the podcast. It's like, even if it's like, hey, 6 weeks ago I had corona and I'm over it, it's like, who the hell is going to hang out with me,
It's fine.
I mean, you would hang out. You're like a nice guy, but there's a lot of people.
I don't give a fuck about it.
There's some people that, like, they won't come over here because of the D.L. Hughley COVID.
Yeah.
So, like, and that's been forever ago. It's been like it's
so
been 3 months ago.
You were there that night?
You were there?
Like, yeah, I was there 3 months ago. And they're like, it's going to be a no for me, dog.
It is going to be a no.
You get Randy Jackson by everybody.
No, I did have a couple people. I'm glad you came to do it in person because, I mean, we're being safe. We're not like spitting in each other's drinks or anything. But, like, I had people that, when I asked them to do it, did you spit in my drink? You thought about it. You were like, yeah, we're not spitting in each other's drinks.
I peed in it, so you're fine.
When you went to the bathroom, I did pee a little. And I just do that for all I thought you would like that.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're hydrated.
No, I asked some comics to do it, and after we got through the whole, like, I got to a day and all that, and they were like, I'm assuming this is going to be like over Zoom or FaceTime. And I didn't get mad or anything because I was like, oh, I get it. But I was like, why would I go through all this to book a FaceTime? We just do it right now.
Yeah,
like I'm talking to you right now.
We're doing it right now. I could just hit record.
I could screen record my text messages if this is what we're gonna do. I was like, we live in the same town. I was like, bro, come over and hang out with me. But I didn't want to.
So alone.
I wasn't rude. Yeah, that's literally what most of this is about.
This is why you started a podcast, isn't it?
I'm like I'm gonna get some one-on-one time with all these folks, dude. Yeah,
that's
I don't
crazy.
know. I love the comics in Nashville. I like everybody, so I like. Everybody is so cool. Everybody that works, I'll phrase it like that. Everybody that gets work doing comedy or is like hosting shows in town is a very cool person.
Who isn't cool? Give names.
Who's not cool?
No, I'm just kidding.
Ronit. I hope she sees it.
Ronit!
Ronit, you're done.
The beast from the Middle East.
So many people are gonna know who Ronit is.
They will now.
No, I like Daherm a lot. I want to have Daherm on so bad.
Daherm's been coming out.
Daherm has been going to mics.
He manages to work his way into everything we do, doesn't he? He made it on the podcast.
Do you know if he started eating meat again? Daherm? This is not interesting to anybody listening, probably, but Daherm is a comic. He's an enigma.
East.
He's from out east. Yeah. That's right. He's from out here.
He's from East Nashville.
And he
Hermithy.
And he's just he's an enigma, dude. That guy is
easy.
He's oh, come on. He's he's a phenomenon.
He is.
Is that a better word?
Dude, you know Nick Bush. I mean, we host a lot of shows
yeah.
together.
I like Nick a lot.
Shout out Nick. He was telling me he was talking to somebody like in Arkansas that was in the comedy scene, and they're like, "Oh, do you know Daherm?" He was like, "In Arkansas? What?" Dude, that is known everywhere.
He's like, guys from out east.
Yeah, he's like, you know that guy from out east? Is it Dahermithy?
I love that guy, dude. I want to have him. I've never had a conversation with him for longer than like 4.5 minutes, probably. So
That's long.
It's a long, but I've been around him a little bit. But I want to talk to him for 1 hour. I want to see what, that he's got some sneaky talents. Like he's pretty good at basketball. You ever seen him play basketball?
He's good at boxing Brooke Jolly too.
He wanted to. I box a little bit too, and he saw me post a video on Instagram.
I saw that,
and he wanted to.
He did Muay Thai.
I only did some classes in person. I'm like the king of YouTube learning. That's my whole thing. I don't like go to school. Like I didn't go to college.
Save money.
So like
you get your master class on YouTube.
I know. So that there's a limit to like how good you can be at the boxing, whatever. I feel like I'm decent for a person that has never had like a legit. Even my classes were like the title boxing class. They gave me like a 30-second lesson on boxing, and then they put me in an hour
just
class.
Hit the bag for 30 seconds as hard as you can.
Yeah, well,
okay.
Have you ever done one of those title boxings?
No.
They're actually like one of the hardest workouts I've ever done. Yeah. But they, because you do like 15 minutes of like push-ups and sit-ups and planks and stuff like that before you even start boxing. But it's like constant work. You're like down, up, doing jumping jacks,
push-ups in
do
the gloves.
lunges. At some point they have you put the gloves on. I think you put the gloves on after the 15, but in between your 3-minute rounds, you do shit like push-ups with gloves on.
You do 5 3-minute rounds?
You do 8 3-minute rounds.
8 3-minute rounds?
8 3-minute rounds in the bag, 15-minute
lot.
warm-up before, and then you do 15 minutes of abs at the end. So you're doing like this they call it a warm-up, but I'm doing like those you ever do those skate ones where you jump back and forth on one leg like a speed skater? You got to do these huge lunges.
I was just doing it with you right there.
Yeah, like this. You do go like that.
All right.
And it hurts your legs. So I'm like 7 minutes into this thing. I'm like, I can't do anything else.
We haven't even got to boxing.
I haven't even
That's
got
why
to.
I came.
Yeah.
Throw
so I did like
hands.
10 of those, and I was paying for the membership, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I can't. I was like, I don't want to.
You never
if I
made
want
it
to
to
do
boxing,
push-ups.
did you?
No, I did the boxing.
Okay.
But the fucked up thing is that I can't wear my glasses when I work out. I don't like to.
Yeah.
So I can't see anybody around me. But when I would,
You can hit mitts. I mean, you're not that blind, right?
no, I can hit mitts for sure. I could fight if I had to. Like
Yeah.
I could fight, bro. But
I mean, it's like I'm not gonna not see it coming.
I can see a person, but like, if I had great vision, I could like maybe glance around. But because I don't have very good vision, I'm like really just focused on the background's blurry, so I just focus in on what I'm doing. Any class like
Yeah, it's like
hot
portrait
yoga
mode. You
class.
live your life in portrait mode.
It's exactly what it's like.
Yep.
Thank you. That's a very elegant way. I live my life on portrait mode. That's
Yeah.
like so. I would take breaks because I'm like I work really. When I do it all the way. Like I probably go way too hard all the time. So when I would take a break, I look around and I'm like nobody's doing anything like I was doing it. Everybody's like fucking. They're hardly
granny
they're not
shots?
putting they're like not putting energy. A lot of girls are in the
Gotta
class.
pivot.
So that's what sucked is most of the girls were like putting a lot of energy into it, but a lot of them didn't have great dexterity with their punches. But all the dudes in the class were like, I'm like, why would you pay your money to do this? I'm like, you're barely doing it just to get through the whole thing. I'm like, my whole idea was that I would I obviously quit, so I should quit talking shit about it. Those guys probably have got 6-pack abs now, and they're ripping. They're
probably
Floyd
hitting
Mayweather.
that bag like their father did when they were younger. So
Oh, yeah.
they finally let it out.
Those classes are really for girls, I think. Anyway, I didn't feel very comfortable in there because I'm just a bigger person and I'm not in that good of shape, and I just think women have a different amount that they can give in physical exercise without gassing out.
You think they have more stamina?
Yeah, I think naturally a woman that's like an active woman, it's
Man,
not
that
even
is-
like that different from me. It's like if we are given maximum effort, I just feel like they can go so much longer than you can. I gotta quit.
Good point.
I don't know what that is.
Because I was in decent shape, like running every day, and then this girl that I worked with, she was like, "Oh, I'll come run with you one day." She's like, "I need to start running again." I was like, "Again? Okay, yeah. No,
Again,
I mean,
yeah.
good luck."
Again, yeah, good. I've been
luck.
running for a few weeks.
Keeping up. I've been running for like months now. So, and she just outran me by miles. And there's nothing worse than like a
It's okay.
person that hasn't been exercising or running being like, "Come on, let's go." I'm like, why am I here?
Yeah, you ever done
Should've
hot
said yes to
yoga?
this.
What'd you say?
No, not the podcast. Running with her.
Oh, dude. I like running with girls because they point out shit. I used to run with this girl all the time, and she pointed out to me like that I'm taller than her, a lot taller, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she would try to run at the same pace as me, but literally because our legs are so much longer on the stride, she would get so much further back from me if she ran at my same pace. So she like pointed out to me one day, she's like, I have to run when I run with you at like such a higher clip just because my legs aren't as long. And she'd never noticed
Yeah.
that before. She was like, that's always interesting. Like, you ever done hot yoga class? You ever done anything like
No,
that?
I've heard it's intense. So.
It's the worst. It's worse than.
All right, we were having this conversation. How hot is it in there?
It's hot. It's
I was in
95 to 105 degrees.
Okay, so we were talking to somebody was like, dude, it's like 150 in there. I'm like,
I don't think
think
so.
you're
It
reheating
might
the
get up to
pizza.
115 at the
Okay.
hottest. But they have like vents in the ceiling that pump the heat. Like, it's like they kick on and off because there's an auto, like your air
so it's
conditioner
like
in your house.
heat just hitting you.
Sometimes in the room, if you got to look at if you're dummy like me, I always show up late to the class and I have like the last spot and I'm like right under the heat vent. So when it's on, it's like on me, dude.
They know.
But then they do something in there too for the humidity, and that's what makes it bad. Is they make the humidity like all the way up. It's like
That's
as much
safe?
as humid can be.
How long are these classes?
Mine were 90 minutes. You can
You're
do
in there
90
for
or an hour and a half.
An hour and a half?
Yeah. You do the whole the hot yoga is a hot 26, so it's like a coordinated thing where you go through 26 poses.
Uh-huh.
But you
In 90 minutes?
In 90 minutes, but you do every one of them twice.
Doesn't seem like that much.
It's
seems like you're holding
50,
that pose for. How long are you holding each pose?
You do a minute on and a minute off, I think, and sometimes it's a little more than a minute when you're on. But between every pose, you're like resting. But it's like the hardest. It's like a next level. It's like everyone is leading to the next one, and it makes it hard. Everyone has a different one. There's one for me in particular that's like the worst one, and it's right towards the end. You do a huge segment of the 90 minutes standing.
Dude.
And so when I first went in there, this is what was fucked up. The first time I went in because I heard about it on a podcast, and I was late. Yeah. So and they lock the door at this place. If you're late, you not only can't get in, you can't get out.
Oh, man.
So it's like they lock the door. You can't get out.
Huh?
I think they put the
they lock you in the hot ass room?
This one, I think I went to the expert class. I think I looked online and they were like, yeah, anybody can go, but this one was like, they told me, they're like, you can't really leave and you can't get in after it starts.
So somebody's having a heat stroke, they're like,
I think they'll let you out, but you gotta stop. You gotta stop the class. So there's certain ones where
everybody hates you for having a heat stroke.
I think they try to encourage people to not, So I get in there. I'm in the very back, away from the mirror. Can't see, obviously. Can't see myself in the mirror. So I'm just going.
Yeah.
I told the instructor my name right before we started, and she probably 10 minutes in, she's starting to call me out by name about my poses, right? And I was trying hard, and I was kind of no, it wasn't messed up. It was actually like a challenge.
Oh, okay. That's not messed up.
She was like, in my mind, I was like, she sees that I'm capable. She's not. I could tell who she was calling out when she'd call somebody out. I'd kind of look at them.
Oh,
and
she
I'm
saw
like,
your potential.
I think she saw my potential. So she was like, push it,
Okay.
So I start pushing, right? But I got no idea where I'm going because I've never been here before. So within like the next 3 poses, I'm still standing up. I'm like, I'm going to puke. I was like, I'm going to, for sure. You ever work out to the point where you thought you were going to throw up?
Yeah, I've thrown up a lot working out.
Happens to me a lot.
Wouldn't recommend it.
Would not recommend it. But so I was like, I'm going to puke. And you know what you got to do? You just got to, you go into I got to be still. That's how I'm not going to throw up.
You just rubbing,
I just lay down on the thing and I'm like, don't move. And then but I also felt like a bitch because she was calling me out. So I'd start to feel okay. I'd hop back into the class.
So you start feeling flushed in 115 degree weather?
Yeah, dude, I was getting cold and hot. But then as soon as the cold would start, the hot was overwhelming. It was like, but I made it through and I did a bunch of those classes. But I'm telling you, I never made it all the way through without taking a break because I thought I was going to puke.
Like having to step out or like still being in
Never
it?
got out of the room. But I was like,
because they lock you in it. Yeah.
I didn't. And maybe that was just the first one. They told me that. I swear they told me that. They're like, you shouldn't leave. They're like, if you're going to do it, you need to be in there. So I was like, okay, whatever. But I never got all the way through without having to take a break because I thought I was going to puke. But the whole thing, there's one at the end where you're on the ground. Like 30 minutes of standing and there's an hour on the ground. And there's one you go like up on your knees and you have to like do a back bend and like grab your ankles like this while trying to bend your head back towards the ground. But you're like on your knees like this. And doing that now wouldn't be that bad. It's not like you could do that great. But yeah, you're kind of bowing back like that. And
I couldn't do that.
It's not like that bad right now, but after the sequence of everything you do, trying to do that, I'm telling you, it's like made me feel the worst. I'm like, that's the worst I've ever felt in my entire life. Most pain, the most sick and nauseous.
You went back after that?
I kept going back. Yeah, because I was like,
beast, man.
Well, you do comedy. You got to know what that's like.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm a masochist, yeah.
It's like I like to encounter things where it's like, why can't I? The instructor was calling me out. I signed up for the class. There's all these people in here. All these girls are in here doing this. There's grandmothers in there doing this. I'm like, I can fucking, it's not that I'm not built for this. I can do it.
There's no way an old lady has not died in hot yoga.
There are way more old ladies that have thrived in hot yoga than have died. They're thriving, not dying, dude.
They're living.
They are. Old women, that is what is the most discouraging. I'm almost glad that I'm blind in the class is so that I can't get upset at myself.
You can't see how disappointed everybody is in you?
I can't see everybody being like, I'm in there not in that good a shape. I have to take my shirt off. It's hard. At a certain point, you can try to do it with the shirt on, but it's like, it just doesn't, at a certain point, it's like, it doesn't even make sense. You will sweat more than you ever sweat in your life by 250%. I have never sweat that much, and it's not even close.
Really?
It's pouring off your elbows. I mean, like a stream. I didn't know it was possible. I didn't know it was possible to sweat like that. It's the most incredible shit ever.
Has anybody farted?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, because I feel like if it's hot as hell in that room, like you're gonna smell it.
It smells like feet. This is the gross. I think yoga studios might be going under because
can't do that, man.
If you go, it's like the sweat goes through your they make you bring a big beach length towel to cover your mat. So you have a towel over your mat.
Yeah, because I guess a mat doesn't really soak in.
No, it becomes a horrifying. You got to have, if you don't bring the towel,
Slick.
it's over. You got to have a giant beach towel to cover your the whole surface you're going to be over. The towel has to cover it, and the mat's got to be under. Then you have to bring another smaller towel for you and water. That's all you need. But that's what you got to have that. If you don't have that, but then what happens, right? Your mat becomes soaked like a sponge with sweat when this thing's over. It goes through the towel, but it's like it doesn't get slick where you are. And then they just like when everybody clears out, they run like a mop over that shit. The next people are coming in.
So it's just
as they're
constantly
mopping.
humid and
People's shit everywhere. I mean, just like people's juice, dude. I mean, the only
Are you wanting me to try this?
I'm telling you, the only reason I think
You're
it's
not
magic.
convincing
I
me
think
at
it's
all.
magic. I mean, it's
I
like
don't think it is.
because of how hard it is. It's like I don't understand why it's so hard. I'm like, you're just moving your body around, and the way it makes your mind feel. You ever have like a connection where you're like, this is so
yoga
hard.
before you did hot yoga?
I'm a flexible person. Yeah, I've got
I've never touched my toes.
Oh really? Oh yeah,
Ever.
I've always been able to. Lately, I haven't been stretching as much because I haven't been as active. I can't get out of the house as much. But I can, after like 30 seconds of stretching, I can touch the ground with almost my flat palms. Like I'm pretty flexible.
Prove it.
Yeah. Fuck yeah! All right.
All right.
I'll do it. I mean, it might take 30 seconds.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah,
Y'all can't see that, but he really did just touch his palms to the ground.
You might have heard my shoulders just ripping out of their sockets. Though I was
He'll
like,
never do that again, but he did it for the podcast.
It's but when I try to get up, I'm like, dude, it's great thanks for being here.
He's like,
I really
"All
did.
right."
My muscles were like, that was a good. I pushed right into that.
Yeah, you went straight down.
Fuck
That would take me a few years.
Hard. I cheated a little because my feet weren't all the way together, but that was still like.
Do you bend your knees though, or do you lock them out?
I didn't bend them. Did you look at my knees?
locked
You didn't
out?
look at my knees?
No.
Oh, good. I was pushing those knees back, locking hard. I hyperextended my knees just into.
I thought
You
you're
had to do
not
that.
supposed to do that. Though.
No, you're not. But I was like trying to be like.
But you're
I'm like,
like,
you
oh, you wanna
challenged
see?
me.
Oh,
you
you wanna
challenged me.
see?
So I was
Okay.
like, look how
Look at the
straight.
knees.
They'll go straighter than
Look
straight.
at the knees.
It makes me sad you didn't even see it. I tore my ACLs.
I didn't. I was watching the palms.
Yeah, I'll do it later. But when we go, I'll do it again.
It's like I wish you'd have seen that because I'm never gonna walk again now.
Oh, dude. Well, I'm glad to hear that the comedy is going. I mean,
is,
You're
yeah.
You're not here. You're getting a lot of comics at the shows, not a lot of patrons. That's correct,
Well,
right?
the book shows. I mean, dude, Smokes and Jokes at Liquid Smoke. Hey,
oh, dude, that Topo Chico's incredible.
yeah, it's the best.
He brought me a whole bottle of this Topo Chico. I'm sorry, I want to shout you.
Yeah.
It's so nice to somebody bring me a gift. You're the only person in the podcast that will ever do it, and I'm glad you were
think?
the first one. No one else will bring me anything.
Really?
He might bring me a Red Bull,
All right, well,
which would
that's
be
pretty
enough.
good, too.
That would be enough. But
Yeah.
that was nice. I feel
know.
like we're at a class. I keep cutting you off when I ask you good questions. I'm
No,
sorry
you're
about
fine.
that.
That's what happens when you drink Topo Chico. It changes a man.
Yeah, I took a sip of it. I hadn't sipped it yet, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is magnificent." I'm
Yeah.
gonna save that.
That's just how terrible of a person I am. Like I should just be drinking water, but I can't do it unless I'm like bougie.
I love the idea of like a Mexican brand of sparkling water. It's like the fanciest shit. It's like bottled Mexican sparkling
Yeah,
water.
that might just be piss from a river, but
It's just like
it's good.
it's just a kind of an insulting concept, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, your comedy shows, right?
Oh yeah. Smokes and Jokes.
The book shows.
The second Monday of every month at a cigar bar in Murfreesboro. It's going on like 2 years. So I mean, before all this hit, we were doing well with it. Took 2 months off. Then everything seemed to like open back up. So we're like, oh, we'll give it a try. 50 people at the show, which I don't know if that's good or not. But
no, I mean I saw the pictures. Everybody's spaced out and just with
Yeah.
people they came with and wearing masks if they're not eating.
I mean, it's
saw
still
it.
half capacity. So
Yeah. Everybody likes that show a lot. Everybody that does shows in town, like
yeah,
the local
comics love it.
Yeah, they love going out there. It must be like I need to come down there and see it sometime. It's
Come check it out.
It's in Murfreesboro. Smokes and Jokes at Liquid Smoke.
That's Smick and Smoke.
I love how close your shows are very close to the name of the venue. So I'm like, oh, I got to remember the two things that are very close
Yeah.
to the same,
I don't
which is
think
fine.
long and hard on them. I'm like, how can I make them possibly rhyme? And
But I'm like the
be
Dirty
easy to
Laundry
find.
open mic at the laundry mat
at the
venue.
laundry room venue, dude. I
Laundry
have to
room
say
venue.
that at the beginning, and I have yet to nail it. I was like,
Yeah.
hey, everybody, welcome to the laundry mic, dirty, open.
It's dirty. It's
here.
comedy. You're at the show, baby.
Yeah.
So the Smokes and Jokes, do you get a lot of return people every?
Yeah, that's
is
what
it
I was
every
gonna
month?
say. We have it. Yeah, it's once a month.
Once a month.
But yeah, at this point, we have everybody that comes every month.
Okay.
So that's the cool part. Is like you start seeing familiar faces. The owners sit right up front on every show to watch it.
Wow,
They
that's
love
unique.
it. Yeah.
So
They're
they
not
might,
just there and they're not there at all like a lot of ownerships. Like they're there.
venues that aren't
involved.
clubs don't like comedy most of the time. That's surprising.
They love it.
That's great. A lot of the venues I've heard that do the comedy shows, it's like people don't like the staff doesn't want to be there on the comedy night,
Dude,
which is like which sucks. I love comedy so much. I'm like, why aren't? It's like no wonder it's hard to get local shows going. It's like you got to give people love. You got to let your community grow a little bit.
dude,
you know?
there was a mic in Murfreesboro. I'm not gonna say whose mic it was because great comic, great guy. But the venue owner or the owners of this place, this establishment, would like sit. It was an open mic, and they would sit like off to the right, and just like boo us, and like laugh at us or like talk during
The
our
staff.
jokes. The staff, like the
Jeez.
owners and like the owner's friend, Big Douche Canoe.
That
Like,
sucks.
yeah, like
dude.
you would tell a joke, they'd be like boo, and you're like, what?
That's so
Huh?
hard to do. There's a venue.
And it made it so uncomfortable because there's just like 8 comics in the room, like 2 people that were just there to watch, and then them like sitting off to the left.
Yeah, like if
Well,
you're not going to
yeah.
enjoy it, just sit there or leave.
I'm like, this
don't
is
do
like
anything.
obviously your place needs business because we're the only
Yes.
people in here. Why are you trying to run it into the ground?
That's what always kills
you
me.
should
Is,
be promoting this.
yeah, it's like, what do you want to
as
stand here and get?
something, yeah.
You're a server or a bartender or something. You've got to make money off tips. It's like, why would you not want people to be in the place?
Yeah, I
If
felt
nobody
bad
would
'cause
be
the
here if we
bartender
weren't here.
She was nice, and she was doing a great job, and they were just shitting on everything. I'm like, do you want your business to thrive? Because it looks like you have nothing right now.
Yeah, I wonder if we're talking about the same place. There's a place in town that does comedy. Was this in Murfreesboro?
Mm-hmm.
There's a place in Nashville that they do comedy shows there, and their bartender that's there all the time. You walk into the front bar area, and then I'll tell you after. I'm sure you'll figure out which one it is. But you walk into the front. The bartender would be out there like talking shit about the comedy show, like telling people she wishes that shows wouldn't happen there.
Really?
And, yeah, and then shit talking, like telling the people before they can even get into the showroom how it's horrible and it's never good. And the staff also, if they don't do a comedy show, everybody gets to go home earlier. The place will close like an hour and a half or 2 hours earlier. So everybody's
yeah.
like, we want to go home. We hate so they're like trying to, the staff, servers, bartenders are like scaring off the clientele.
Yeah, I know what spot that is.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's like, why would you? This is why you're here. That's the
I
whole
will
reason.
say though, like, yeah, I mean, and they're there for that reason.
That's what the
Yeah.
whole reason.
It's yeah.
It's very upsetting.
Yeah, so I will say getting comedy as a surprise is probably the worst thing you can do to somebody.
It's awful. It's definitely the worst.
Like my worst bomb ever was because of the crowd having no idea that there was going to be comedy. And I always tell people like that's like paying for sex and still getting herpes. You know?
Oh no. Oh
Like-
dude, that's the worst. Yeah, that's way worse, but dude, the worst show. Well,
I
not
mean,
the,
yeah, because I mean, and these people pay. They're like, I just want to have a drink. I just want to relax. And then somebody gets on the stage like, hey, what's up, you motherfuckers?
They
And you're
weren't
like,
ready. They're like,
"God."
oh no, yeah. If it's really blue, especially, it's
Oh,
no
dude.
good. If the
That
host is
same-
ever blue, it's like not good.
Dude, there is a venue in town where it's not the host. I guess the guy that, makes the announcements.
Sure.
Dude, before the host even comes up, they'll just be like, he's like, all right, how the fuck are we feeling? Come on, make some motherfucking noise.
It's like a strip club.
And I'm just like, oh, geez.
It's like, all right, well, cool.
Great guy. But
Do you-
every time I hear those announcements, like you can hear the crowd just like, oh, okay. What?
Do you know who Steve Hofstetter is?
Yeah, he's the guy that makes videos about
The
crowd getting heckled. Yeah.
all the time. He's like the most heckled comedian of all time.
I would hate to have that be like my rec, because now when people come to his show, they're like, I'm gonna get on his video.
Most of his, I think a lot of those videos are plants. Some of them, the beginning ones were, right?
Really?
Yeah.
This is proven?
Yeah. Some of the beginning ones.
What?
Some of them. But there's one I saw the other day. It's worse than that.
He wasn't ready?
No, he was doing a show, and he, I mean, comedy shows, there's different ways. If people don't know, there's different ways you can sell out a show. right? Like if you have an email list
I
somehow.
have no idea how to do that.
Well,
how do you sell out a show?
Look, I'll tell you. Here we go. You're getting your notepad out. You're like, I am listening.
All right, yep.
No, if you have an email list somehow, like if you're at a club that has an email list and they have scheduled you to headline, if you can't get the draw to get the room filled, they'll open up the option to be like, look, we'll give away tickets or give them away for a way cheaper price.
Oh, well, it's
to
like
get more
paper
people,
the room.
papering the room, right?
Yeah.
So you can kind of get the vibe of those guys. It's a lot of people that are there on Wednesday. If you're there on a Tuesday headlining, it's like sometimes that's going to be, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like that's how you got to go through it. But when you have a room that's papered, it's like they don't know what they're going to get. And so when the headline, when he's the headliner, right?
Like, I just heard free comedy.
Well,
Free
it's
show.
often, I mean, this might be valuable for you to know, and you probably have some idea of it. If the show is free, people have way less respect for it. You know,
Yeah.
like if people sometimes there's this
Which
weird
is weird
bounce.
because like if I spent money on a show, I'd be like,
I fucking
not what I
own
spent
it.
my money on.
Right.
You know?
It's weird how it works like that. Like if you're a comedian that they love and they really want to see, let's imagine the best scenario. You're headlining a theater. You have kids and it's on a Saturday night. You got to pay for the babysitter. You got to pay for parking.
Yeah.
Pay for expensive concessions. And then maybe you go out after. You had to go out and get dinner.
Yeah,
right?
people are clearly familiar with your material, and they're not going to be like, "Well, this is a curveball."
You're very invested in the situation, and you're more than likely on a date with somebody that you're interested in, right? So you're invested in the situation monetarily, and you're invested in it like you don't want to make a fool out of yourself with somebody, right?
So you want to be very participatory.
Well, you just want to be cool. You're gonna follow the etiquette. Like you're like it's
again,
like
I have no idea how to date, so you just want to.
Well, I'm just saying.
You want to be very
that's what's taking you
want
out
to
of it.
be present, right?
You just want to be no.
You want to show up, right?
All I'm saying is like that you don't want to embarrass yourself. But here's the thing: if you get people, let's reverse the whole situation. It's Tuesday night. You're getting some people that are willing to run out, and they're gonna take free tickets to see some shit they have no idea. Would you ever go to just some? I mean, I would never go to like a free entertainment thing that I just didn't know what it was. I'm almost never gonna
you throw
do that.
alcohol in there. I'll go to anything.
Yeah, but that's so. It would comedy, at least in my eyes, that's not what I would do. If I'm gonna go out drinking and stuff, that's just because I know about comedy. But maybe that's what it is. Maybe
Comedy
people
is
are
weird
like,
because like it's one of the things where like you have to go and shut up.
yes, you
Like,
have.
that's
It's required.
so hard for people, and it's hard for me. That's why I'm on stage because I can't shut up. You know.
But the people that don't pay and end up coming, they don't have the respect for the etiquette because I think in their mind, they're like, you're giving it away for people to get in here. You need me. Like they feel like they're not paying, they're not invested. They're like, and they have no respect because like, what's going to happen? I'm going to get thrown out of a thing I didn't pay for. You know, so they're like,
It's true.
Their etiquette and what they will do is a little different. Now the Steve Hofstetter situation, it ended up being a reverse thing. Where they all seemed like cool people, but they wanted a clean show. They didn't know it was going to be dirty. And
the room had been papered?
The room had probably, judging from what happens in the video, I would almost bet my life it was a papered room. Because people that come to see a guy don't walk out like this. So a comedy show has a host, a feature, and a headliner.
Right.
And at this show, you only see the video when Steve gets on stage. I'm saying this for other people, not for you, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna go watch it after this.
It's on his Instagram. It says comedian thrashes crowd for walking out or something. It's like right on the video.
Nice.
So we watch it, and what I know from being in shows is that this audience, most likely being papered, so they didn't know if they were going to see, they had to watch some host come out and do his time, who probably didn't do great if this is the circumstance for the show. Then they had to watch a feature come out that Steve brought with him, this is a guy that will bring a person that's not as good as him on purpose. So he brought some guy to do a bunch of time in the middle that's not very good.
Oh, yeah. I saw like him posting and something was like, hey, I need a opener for going to this town. Like, does nobody travel with him at this point?
I mean, he has probably friends in different areas and stuff. He probably can't pay a guy to travel, but
yeah.
I mean, I hate to talk shit, but he's not so. I don't love it. I don't love what he does online. I'm like, I don't get to talk to anybody, so I'm like, you don't have to say anything about this guy because he's a comic. But like,
I don't know him.
It's so crazy that a guy that it's crazy to be a headliner that like to ensure that no one's gonna outshine me. I'm for sure gonna bring a feature that's not gonna do that great.
Like
there's comics that do that, and he does that.
That's so weird. I mean, I don't know because I'm still new, relatively, but I would like want somebody that's going to make this show as good as possible.
That's what you should want, and to push you.
Yeah, and like I want somebody like who I think it was Cedric the Entertainer. Like somebody opened up for him. Who was
Like
it?
did a guest spot in front of him on a show or something?
No, like he brought them out, and it was Joe Coy used to open for him.
Oh, that guy's a murderer.
Yeah.
He's
And,
like one of the best comics in the world.
Murdered.
Yeah.
And Cedric the Entertainer, like when he was going back, to the curtain or whatever, he was like, "That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Made me work for this money." I was like, "That's it. That's
Oh,
what
I
you
see.
want."
Sorry.
He's not.
I misunderstood. I thought you were talking about Steve Hofstetter had Cedric the Entertainer open for him. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, he's doing good. Steve's doing
I
really
see.
well.
Cedric was the headliner.
No,
I
like
understand.
that's what he wanted. He wants somebody to up his level, and it does. Like it hypes you up when you see somebody else doing well.
And it gets the
You're
crowd
like,
going.
all right, here we go. It's my turn.
Yeah. I always love it when a feature kills because they had no idea it was coming. And then when he's done, when he or she is done, when the headliner comes on,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, the person I can't, it's like almost like they forgot
forget,
what was
yeah.
going to happen. They were like, oh, I just saw a person that I loved. And now I'm going to see a person that I already know that I'm going to love. So it like makes it that much. I hate when people book the show to be like, I don't want anyone to be better than me. But anyway.
Yeah, like the last show I saw at Zany's before all this was actually Rory Scoble, which was
Oh, that show, he kills. I love that
hilarious.
guy.
But before that, it was
so
Martin
fun.
Norman, and his feature was great. I don't remember his name, but
I can't remember either, but I've seen, yeah, he's great. I can't remember his name. I
like
wish I
that,
could
like
shout him
when,
out.
I almost forgot, like what you were talking about. Like I was
Right.
watching, I was like, dude, this dude's hilarious, and they're like Martin Norman. I was like, oh yeah, duh, the
They
reason
take
I
you
came.
out of it, right? They're like, you find yourself enjoying it so much you forgot what even, like, you're not sitting there going, well, I'm waiting for the guy. So
Yeah.
anyway, back to the Steve Hofstetter show. That feature didn't do that for them at all, right? They were probably waiting for like, they're like, well, we got almost free tickets to see some guy. We'll just wait for that guy to come out. When he came out, he comes out on some weird inspirational bullshit and he's cussing immediately. And
Who, Steve or
Steve Hofstetter.
Okay.
Steve Hofstetter, the headliner. When he comes out, he's immediately cussing and doing like it's a dirty act, and it's like, and it's also not good. It's like not very good. And people immediately start getting up and walking out. Just getting.
And, like,
they're not
right off
saying
the rip?
anything. You see it because the camera's in the back, like. It's like Mystery Science Theater or whatever, so you can see like everybody's
So
silhouette.
they're like, we'll just wait on the headliner.
You see, right, and as soon as he comes out and they know they're not going to... This is how I was able to put it all together. That's the only reason people would react like that. It's like,
Yeah.
who would en masse quietly get up and leave? It's like, that's not how that goes. If it was their fault, if they were wrong, they'd be yelling, they'd be too drunk. They wouldn't be like quietly without saying anything getting up and exiting. Like, so he starts being like, it's taking him out of his act. And again, you got to remember the title is Comedian Thrashes People for Walking Out of a Show or something. And he's just like trying...
all caps. He's always all caps.
And he's trying to keep doing his act, which happens to be about... I guess he has this problem a lot where he cusses at the top and people don't like it. So he's addressing that, but you can tell it's his act. He's not riffing. So he's doing the part where he's riffing, but everybody's leaving. So he's trying to work through it, and it's taking him out of it. And then once and he says on the mic that he probably walked a third of the room that was there.
Wow, that's
So
impressive.
it probably wasn't full, and he walked to the third of the people that were there, right? 2/3, a third, something like that. And then he starts going in on the people after they've all gone, and he's
the
finished.
ones that stayed.
Right, and he's going in, and I'm like, who are you thrashing? They've gone. Like they're all like you didn't get them like
At that point, he's like still mad at the crowd that stayed.
right, and it's not like Bill Burr
Start shitting
in
on
Philadelphia where he's like really getting
The greatest thing ever.
I watch that like once every
Yep.
2 weeks probably.
Dude, yeah, once a month, I'll just be like, I need it. I got to see it.
11 minutes left.
Like 7 minutes.
That's a comic
He's like,
that's
Joe
thrashing
Lewis
somebody.
Grew up in this town. You got a picture or a statue of some fake Italian.
Yeah, he's like, because you're fucking racist city, can't even, you got a
Dude.
fake white guy, fuck you, you fucking, he's like, take the
Dude.
Liberty Bell and shove it up your ass.
The fact, like that kind of random, like there's no way I could think that well
Pure anger.
off of hate.
Then
Like
he's
when
just-
I get mad, it's just like, I'm mentally gone.
It probably
not
took
there.
a lot of work, though. You think about where he was at that point, but that
And if
that
you
like
hear a
broke
story
him,
about that,
you know?
yeah, he was like, "This is gonna ruin me,"
And it ended
And
up
it
blowing
made
him
him.
up because
Yeah.
people were like, "I can't believe." Oh, dude, he did every major sports team, everything about the city. I mean, if you listen back, he says like the gay F word a couple times in there, but it's like, dude, he's in the spirit of fun. Like he was out there thrashing those dudes.
Yeah.
So that's the standard you're up against. When you post a video online and you're like comedian thrashes, it's like,
yeah, no,
he didn't even say he
Philly.
thrashed him. Yeah. Like, and that's a real, it's just weird that's like, you're a
They
comic,
loved
you
it.
know, you got to be able to, other people maybe that listen don't relate to it, but how weird would it be to just make your whole online reputation about like,
I would hate that.
your fake
would be.
thrashing
I didn't
fans.
know that he had plants.
They're not always like that, but some of the early ones were like that.
Really?
Yeah, so now he's just like, he does these shows that are papered and unruly, and the nature of those shows breeds drunken people that don't want to pay attention. So he's kind of falling into getting a lot more of them, I think,
That
just
is
by like
horrifying.
the bad luck of his. But that's how your career can go in comedy sometimes if you're not like.
I got to make sure when people heckle me, I just go, "Thank you, appreciate that."
I mean, you can tear them down, but you
seem
gotta
like a very nice person.
he also, this guy, I don't know if he does this everywhere. I've seen his act, given the nature, like I've seen his act like 2 different years. Like I've seen him probably 10 times, you know? I've seen him do his whole hour. So
Really?
like, yeah, like 10 times. Just
Wow.
like, I've seen a lot of people do, people that you would never, like you would never pay for their tickets, you know?
But I want to ask you this: who have you seen kill the hardest at Zanies?
Kill the hardest? I
It's got to be a
saw
tough question.
Joey Diaz sold out audience was like so they were losing their minds.
Really?
Probably the loudest noise of killing.
Yeah.
Donnell Rollins is the funniest person I've ever seen do comedy.
Really? haven't seen
Absolutely.
him.
What really hurt me, right, is that he did like a weeknight, one night, just him, and he didn't sell very many tickets, but he didn't pay for the room. But he sold just the tickets he was selling. There were like 120 people there. And I was like, and he put on like the best show. I was like, this is the greatest comedy show I've ever seen, and there's
more
nobody
people
here.
should have been here.
The next night, this was a different year. D.L. Hughley was starting his weekend the next night, and Donnell was on the later show or something on the Thursday. So I think he had 2 nights. And
Oh, you said
DL
like a Wednesday and a Thursday?
Wednesday, Thursday, 2 nights, and then he did the late show Thursday after DL did his one earlier. It's 7. So DL, he was there hanging out at the club, and DL let him go up and do 20 minutes or something on the show.
On
like
his
he cut it
show?
on DL's show
Wow.
at 7, and he killed so hard that DL couldn't follow him.
Damn.
And it was unfortunate that some of the jokes that Donnell did were premises that DL kind of did, and they were so much better.
I mean, dude, that
I mean, it was like so when DL talked about it, it's like, yeah, I've seen that on the internet already. But because everybody, it was that vibe of like, I mean, he buried him. I mean, DL's not like a killer now. He is a very talented comedian, but he's just cruising, dude. He's like driving.
Yeah, he already did everything.
He just
needs
gets
to
his
do.
money. He just picks it up. That's all he's doing.
He just
really.
gets COVID and.
But Donna Rollins, dude, I'm telling you, and he'll just make you laugh about nothing. I mean, he could go out there and do probably with no material and just make you laugh. He was just doing an impression of the Childish Gambino "This America" song had just come out, and he had this huge like 15-minute segment at the top where he was just making fun of putting the gunshot situation into different scenarios in life. And he would just and the gunshot, he would go "Fuck!" and he would scream like that every time he shoot the gun, and it got so much funny. I think it's in his special. I think it's in his Degenerates, but they edited that horribly. That they always edit the Degenerates on Netflix bad because they do like an hour or 45 and they edit it way down.
15 minutes.
It never feels when you watch comedy in person all the time and you watch the Degenerates, it doesn't feel right. You're like,
really?
I don't. Yeah, it just I can't really watch them because I'm like, oh, that's not like. You've edited. It's like editing my podcast. You know, it sucks. But
dude, do you want to talk about? He was the hardest.
He's so good. I mean, he could be funny off the stage, on the stage, wherever. Dion Cole. One time, when I first saw him, he was so funny.
I want to see him.
And then I saw him the next year, and I didn't feel the same way. It was very strange. Yeah, when I saw him the first time, I was like, this is the funniest guy. I love this guy. And then the next time I saw him, and I get to see him like 5 times. I don't just see him once. So I was like, I get time to think about it, and I was like, I just didn't love it. He was a little different too. I think
was it different material?
No,
different vibe. Same.
It was 3/4 the same material.
Really?
Maybe that had something to do, but they were still good. But I just didn't.
Dude,
I don't know. I didn't like it.
I think the funniest thing I've seen in comedy so far was a show that I produced. No, it was. It really was.
Blissfully off into the.
We did a set swap, and Brad
yes.
Sativa and Aaron Weber swapped.
Was that your show?
Yeah.
You and Nick?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
that's
that was-
great. I
remember
love that
watching, I was
idea.
like, this, but it's only funny if you know them, you know?
Absolutely.
But like watching, I mean, I have not laughed that hard in a long time.
Yeah, if you came to that show and you didn't know those guys, you wouldn't
Yeah,
get
you're
it.
like,
But
what?
that's a great like commute, like us to laugh, the comics to laugh at each other. And
Yeah, because
hang
Aaron
out.
just kind of like, oh yeah.
Well, and they dress like each other.
Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh.
And you matched it up so well. That did you only do it once?
Yeah, because after that, I was like, I don't really know how we're going to.
It's probably hard to continue to keep with that format, given
Because
that
I
our
wanted
community.
to do, at that point, I wanted to do like Dusty and Hannah.
Yes,
Since they
yeah.
spend so much time with each other.
See, if I had an act, me and Steven Spinola could have done it. I can do
Yep.
Steven's act like fucking. I've seen Steven's act so many times.
You can do all his songs.
I could. Oh yeah, and they're online somewhere, so I
Yeah.
could look them up beforehand. But there's a lot of his material I could do. I
How
edited
long?
a
He's
thing.
been in the game for a while.
Steven's been doing comedy for 10 or 12 years, 13 years maybe.
Really?
But he's given up on life, you know, Steven.
Yeah.
but no, he's
Nah.
never gonna watch. He wouldn't get this far into something I do on my own.
Really?
Yeah, you would know you would get out of it so fast.
Well, have at him. No.
I want him to do that. He's in a different. He got married, you know, and
Yeah.
he's a comic that's had his trials and tribulations in the industry. Not even everybody knows everything that Steve has been through.
Yeah.
Steven's like the first comic that got canceled.
Yeah.
like
for
the first one. He's
the
like a-
Barron tweet or whatever.
Yes, Steven's like a pioneer.
It's so weird that he got canceled for something that would not be canceled and probably
Never.
encouraged by.
Never.
Are we even getting in politics? Probably
I don't
encouraged
care.
by the left.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
I'm dead center, so I can shit on both sides.
the problem was then that it was before people knew the routine. Nobody knew really what canceling was about. So it was this perfect storm where it really was crazy, where he pissed off all the right-wing people, right? Because of the Trump thing. But then when InfoWars wrote about him to make it go viral, they lied in the article and said that he was a writer for Comedy Central, right? And he was he credited himself on his website as a contributor for Comedy Central because he had been getting tweets on At Midnight, and they actually contacted him and asked him to do tweets for At Midnight. They contacted him.
Oh, that's cool.
He wasn't just getting them on. Like, they contacted, and then he signed a
and
release
then
or
right at the
something to get us to.
pinnacle of his career thus far.
So he was doing that, and then when that article came out, everybody was like, "This guy's lying about working for Comedy Central." That's what happened. Everybody.
So InfoWars. That is a dude. I used to have a lisp or
InfoWars.
like a speech impediment.
Oh no,
So
you're doing great.
It's all right.
You're
know.
doing so good.
It was cute.
I'm proud of you.
Until I turned 18, and then it was embarrassing.
Did you have to go to work where you're like, I gotta like, it's like you in the Rocky IV gym, like getting
Yeah,
rid of the lisp?
It was willy hot.
Sally sells seashells by this.
It was willy hot.
But anyway, we dive.
No. What was I saying? Oh,
Something about-
ADD.
We were talking about when Steven did the Trump InfoWars.
InfoWars were the ones that said he was
a writer,
a writer for Comedy Central,
and he's just
And
credited.
he never said that, and then all some people were like, he said he was a writer for Comedy Central.
And somehow it kept going that like they wrote in there
was
that
the
he
one that-
credited himself as the writer, and people
I
knew
mean,
him
if
in New
InfoWars
York.
said, I'd be like, yeah, good. Put
Well,
it on there.
people didn't give him the benefit of the doubt, and they didn't know what InfoWars was really yet. So everybody
Is
was
that
just
Alex
like,
Jones?
"It's Alex Jones."
InfoWars?
So he hates Alex Jones. So the
Frogs.
none of the comics had his back, and nobody. And
That's-
what's fucked up is I found
and
this
he
out.
didn't even have sex with underage women.
Never. He's never had sex with a woman ever.
No,
which is
yeah,
crazy.
that's-
Still to now.
Yeah,
He doesn't
immaculate
do jerk offs.
conception.
He doesn't do any of that. Immaculate conception. When he has a
He's
child, you're
about
gonna
to
know.
have the next Jesus.
He is gonna be a father probably in the future, like near future.
That's frightening
They,
for
they-
any comic.
They don't
to
have it
become
going,
a-
but like he's like, especially now. Yeah, well, you're right for a
I
comic
mean-
because he doesn't like work. You know, he doesn't like have
Oh.
a fucking job.
Here's a good statistic we need to follow up with next year. How many? Well, it's been so long, it's not gonna matter. What the birth rate is in 2021?
How many people are fucking and having the kids?
Yes,
I bet.
I mean, cooped up.
Oh man,
A lot of time to practice.
there's a couple more statistics I'd like to see. How many people are following through? You know, like how many people are gonna have these kids? I wouldn't like.
like before, like they had kids going into the
No,
pandemic.
I'm saying
and now
like
they don't
how
have
many
kids?
people are like, you're like set up to have the kid, and then you're like I'm not gonna do it. Like, you know, you make
Yeah.
it, you get rid, you know. This is a Christian podcast, so I don't want to proclaim sin.
As long as they're doing it after they're married.
The Abortions are fine as long as you're married first. Is that you coming out saying
Yes.
that?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I never considered
that.
my stance. Yeah.
It's like you're in control of your marriage. You can do
yeah.
whatever.
Look, you married into this, so
If you are not organized, like, look, if you're single and you have sex with somebody and you get pregnant by mistake, you should have to have it
yeah.
because you're not married.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
I, mean,
I think why would we? Yeah, well,
And
I
it
don't know
should
why we
always,
even brought
it should
it up.
always be the man's choice.
You should always be able to control
No.
that. We had a couple good points that I feel like we ran right through, but that's okay. Man, you never feel like you're having a conversation and it's like, oh, I want to go back to that was us riffing though. I ran out of riff. We were going down the Riff River.
The riff-raff?
We were going down the Riff River. We were riff-raffing with
down
each
the
other.
river.
And then I was like, oh man, there was a bunch of, I feel like I had all these points that I was going to wait. And then I was like, no, our conversation's going too good. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
To have a conversation is too good. I mean, we've done an hour and 16 minutes.
What?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
You guys are going to love this.
It's good. This has been great.
I mean, I got all the time in the world. I'm just here drinking Topo Chico.
When you walked in
wishing
with
it
that
was some
cooler,
vodka,
I thought for sure it was like,
getting drunk.
I thought you had a bunch of beers, and I was like,
Like,
okay.
oh, no, he's got a drinking problem.
No. I was like, okay. I was like, I don't really drink very much, but I was like, I'll do it. I'll do it on the podcast. There's a couple guests I've booked in particular to get weird with on the podcast.
Yeah, I wish I'd have known that. Yeah, I'd have brought a bottle of bourbon, and we would have just gotten...
It's better to do it this way. I'm glad we did it this way, and then next time you come on, we can do it like that. Which, if you ever, I'm not gonna say. I would love to have you back on in the future.
Yeah,
This has been a lot of fun.
I'll bring the storm with me. I do it all the time.
I felt so bad when it started raining. I was like, you told me you were like, yeah, I'll be there at this time, and I was like, great. And it started drizzling, and I was like, oh no, it's gonna start to rain, and then it started like hurricane.
Flooded.
I mean, it was like sheets of my ceiling. I told you when you got here, it sprung a leak in the basement. There's a roof and a floor above that spot with no leak. And a leak in the basement ceiling.
So it's coming from the side?
Coming in sideways. That's incredible, right?
Sideways rain.
Yeah, like how's it? I told you my house is. They made it look really good on the exterior, like all the night. They gave me two
I pulled
ovens
up.
and
I was
stuff.
like, this is a dope spot.
It's like, well, this is a nice looking house, but on the inside, it's like a crack house bone. It's like crack house skeleton with like a makeover. What's that movie with the Anne Hathaway?
Like, this used to be a crack house.
The Princess Bride. No, that's like the pirate one. What's the one?
There was a crack house in Princess Bride?
I was saying, like, they make her over. She's like an ugly duckling, and they make her into like a beautiful
Pretty
princess. Jesus, that's not it.
No.
That's okay. Julie
She was
Andrews is
already-
in it. Julie Andrews plays a queen.
That's
God
the
damn it.
chick from Pretty Woman.
No, it's a Pretty Woman. No, that's Julia Roberts, dude.
Oh.
It's okay.
Same lady.
When you do a podcast, do you normally use headphones? Are you into that?
Yeah, I'm totally into realizing that I'm deaf in my left ear.
Is it still persisting that you think you're deaf
I'm
in one ear?
definitely way deafer, more deaf in this ear.
I'm hoping that it's not. Switch sides. Switch them. Go. You know? Princess Bride,
point.
Julie Andrews. Hold on, I'm Googling.
See, you're hoping it's not. I'm hoping it is.
The Princess Diaries. Everybody on the other end of the is probably screaming. Princess Diaries. Does it feel the same? It might be psychological
God
at this
dang it.
point.
Well,
Because sometimes it's whatever one I catch on to first, you know? But mine right now feels fine. But sometimes I psych myself out. I'm like, am I only hearing through one side or whatever?
That's weird.
I'm hearing you right in the middle, baby. So you're just gonna stop the headphone on the other side.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let it equal out.
Go to get an auditory. I mean, what's gonna happen? What are they? You could get lucky.
They're just gonna be like, dude, you're deaf as shit.
You're deaf now. There's nothing you can do. That's as you get older. That's
That
some of the
happened-
solutions they give you.
That
Is
happened to
nothing
me
can be
when I
done.
got my last eye exam.
They were like, your eyes are just getting bad.
Yeah. Then they were like, they were, like the field test where the like little lights pop up and
Yeah. Oh, they go on the side.
yeah,
And
and like,
what-
they're all around. Like you're looking.
Oh,
in the
do you
center
put
and
your
they're
eyes like
hitting-
in a thing?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you're just,
yeah,
like, looking,
yeah.
you have to like click
When you see it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So much time goes by where I'm just like, and like I look at them and they're just like,
Is it gonna?
I'm like, did they start it? So like I just start
You just
like,
look.
I'm sitting there and start clicking it, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Did you guys start?" Like, "Yeah, but you're not clicking on anything. You didn't see any
Just
of that." I'm
clicking.
like, "Oh God, no."
So you were like, so your eyes are shit. Your ears going out.
Yeah, and then I find out I have like 2 huge blind spots like in my eyes.
Oh no, my eyes are getting real bad. I got to get a new pair of glasses for sure. I'll be playing like video games or something, looking, and I'm like, sometimes I'll be out in the sun, and I'm like, there's something wrong. Like, you ever get that where it's like
your
I can't
floaters and
see
stuff?
clearly.
Yeah, it's
Sometimes
like
I have
it's like-
one floater in my right eye, but sometimes I'll be outside doing something, and I'm like, it's like there's something over me. Like I'm blinking.
It's
I'm
like
like I
there's
can't
like a
get clear.
film in certain spots.
Kind
or
of.
like
It's like-
opaqueness.
And I get that shit where the lights all have everything's lights
like
have
at
this
night?
crazy shit coming off of them. Yeah, even in here, like it's kind of like a. Yeah, don't look at the lights. It'll fuck you up.
It's bright.
Yeah, it's very bright. I shouldn't have done any of that.
That was.
But yeah, dude, I get paranoid about that. But the point, maybe you should go to a person to see about getting your ears cleaned out, because a lot of the time, what's going on? There's just a bunch of shit in
You
there.
got some dirty ass ears.
Dude, I had a friend that
That
plays
might be.
piano, and he's a studio engineer, and he started to be like, I don't feel like I hear very well. He went and got his ears cleaned out. He saw the shit. They were pulling crazy shit out of his ears.
Yeah.
There
well,
might
I
be
think
bugs in there, dude. And then he said he was
I
hearing.
don't want to hear that.
He said he felt like he was hearing in like 4K. He was like, I couldn't believe it was weird. Like, you know how you like put your phone in and out of a cup and you'll hear the changing? He was like, it almost
Yeah.
was like that on the side. I couldn't believe what was going on.
That was like one of his speakers went out.
Yeah, but he got him refixed. But it was like better. It was like
I'm
he was
pretty
adjusting
sure-
to the new
so-
frequency range.
In high school, we were having batting practice, and I got drilled
Baseball.
in this ear. Yeah,
With the ball or with the
Yeah.
bat?
with a ball, and it busted my ear.
Where were you standing? Like in the
the
field?
Oh, we were just in the cages.
Oh, so you were in a batting cage with a
somebody
guy
was just
taking
throwing me
practice.
BP, and he got mad because he wasn't throwing strikes, so he started throwing it harder, trying to throw a strike.
Oh,
and then
he
next
hit you-
thing you know, and I wasn't wearing a helmet, so
Oh, no.
busted my eardrum.
I was imagining you got hit off the bat. You got hit. The pitcher hit you in the head.
Oh, like I threw it?
No,
the
I was
pitcher-
imagining that someone hit the ball and you were like out in the field and got clocked in the head by a line drive.
Yeah, I was
Or
in center
the-
field, just be like,
or like first base. I've had that. I got hit in the face with a line drive playing second one time.
Nice.
I was fine.
that'll
but
ruin you.
everyone was scared. Everyone got. I had a lot of. I didn't have a very prolific baseball career, but I had
Yeah.
a couple shitty, like the first like a game or something. I was playing third and I couldn't get the guy running home. I was trying to tag him,
Yeah,
and there was no. I don't know if we had a catcher in T-ball. This is T-ball. So I don't know if there was a catcher. So I was having to chase him to get the out instead of being able to throw to home. And I couldn't get to him, and I just threw it into his
And hit
back, in the back. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's
I didn't.
That's you should either it's gonna be either you do that or he's gonna completely embarrass you. And
Yo, he was
outrun you.
outrunning me. Well, he was already ahead of me by the time I got the ball, and no one was
Did it
there.
stop him?
Yeah, he fell down on the ground.
He's out. That's T-ball rules, baby. You didn't throw hard enough to hurt him.
The one
Don't
time
grow
I hit a ball into center field off my hands once.
Wow.
A guy, and he was the best pitcher in the league. You know, everybody's league I think had that. In Little League, you had a pitcher that everyone was scared of.
Yeah,
and
you're
he's
like,
a little bit older
somebody
than
check his
everybody.
age.
Yeah, it's like this guy's very athletic and very strong, and he's older than everybody. It was almost always a guy that's naturally older
Yeah.
than everyone, but still allowed to be in your league. For
Yeah,
some
you're like,
reason.
how did he drive
It's like
here?
put him in the next thing. It's like, why is he
Yeah.
playing with us? And he, he threw a good bit, but I swung at it, and I remember he played for the A's, and I hit it off my hands, and I didn't know the rule was that if your hands are a part of the bat, so I didn't run, and I hit it. I could have got a
That
double.
could hit me.
So they threw me out and shit, and they were like, "Yeah, you're out." And I was like, I broke my finger and shit. I was like, I played the rest of the game and shit, but I was like,
I don't want to do this.
yeah, I was like, what do you mean? I was so mad.
I don't even get the base.
I wasn't even mad. I didn't run, and I was like, my hand hurt so bad. I mean, the guy threw, and the mounds are only 60 feet, so they're not very far.
Yeah. Wait,
And
this
so-
was Little League?
This is a Little League. So the bases, I think, were 45. No,
Oh, so
the mound is even less than 60.
the mound's 45.
Well, the mound's 45 and the bases were 60 maybe
60,
because
yeah.
they're supposed to be 90.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 60-foot bases. Yeah. So 45 feet away, the kid's throwing heat. I mean, he's
Yeah.
about to be in middle
Gassing.
school. Like, he's about to be
Oh,
pitching.
yeah, and he might be in middle school. Nobody's
Even
checking
still.
him, you know?
He
You
might
got-
that guy Thomas Gordon might still be pitching in middle school. That's how fake. No, that guy
got-
was very good. But
Nolan Ryan.
I remember
I think I
you're
saw
already
him.
up there intimidated, you know, and you swing and it hits. And I was like, oh well, I'm gonna get the base at least, and maybe if I got to come out designated runner.
Yeah.
And they were like, you're out.
Do you know what's even worse? Being the kid after you.
Yeah, he's like, what? That's not worse.
Like, dude, he just hit it in the center field off his hands, and he didn't get the base.
I didn't get it.
He's crying so much right now, and I have to go up after him.
I don't think I
It looked like
cried.
it hurt.
But I was yelling. I don't think
Yeah.
I cried, but I was like, I remember I tried to come up with so many solutions to get my hands to stop hurting. One was real bad, but it was both of them, like on the bottom here and the index and middle here. But I was like putting my hands in like cold water and stuff. But yeah, dude, and I didn't get a lot of hits. Like I was in a slump for most of my baseball career, so it was like to take a loss to get an out on him when I made contact.
That was the deepest ball you've hit?
I actually did go out on top in my career.
Nice. I went out on literally the bottom.
The bottom? Yeah. You go first.
All right, so
this is the last game of baseball you played organized?
Yeah, this is it.
How old are
you?
Okay.
High school, fall ball. So it's literally Labor Day, September 5th. It's like our second game back in fall ball, and my coach, it's like we're winning, and my coach gives me like a bunt, gives me the bunt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not what?
You're up to bat.
Bunting in fall ball.
Okay. And
we're winning. Why are you giving me the bunt sign? I guess he's just wanting to practice.
Just do it. Let's do it. Take a bunt.
So I don't. I swing and miss, the first one. And, he calls timeout. He's like, you need to lay down this bunt. I'm like, I'm not laying down a bunt. It's fall ball.
You told him.
Yeah.
You said, I'm not bunting.
Yeah, I'm not bunting in fall ball.
That's a baller move.
Let me hit,
I'm trying to get this hit, baby.
So he's like, lay it down or, you're not playing in the spring. And I'm just like, dude, I don't care what. So
You didn't believe him?
No. So another pitch goes by and I swing and miss. And he calls timeout again and calls me over. He's like, you can do this. He's like, I'll take you out of the game right now. He's like, I don't care. So it's like more of like a control thing. Because I don't know why I'm bunting in fall ball.
Right.
I'm still ill about it, and you'll find out why. So finally I'm like, whatever. He gives me the whole speech again about how I won't play. I'm like, fine. I'll lay it down. Also, it's 0-2, you dumbass. Like, why would I lay down a bunt now? So that's how I know, like, it's just him,
You having a bunt on the last strike and no ball?
If I foul this one off, I'm out. Do you know the rules, coach? Like, but anyway, I ended up getting to a full count, but I don't know. I lay it down. The pitcher runs. It's down the third baseline. The pitcher runs and like grabs it and throws it off the back of his foot. I'm running full speed, and the first baseman has to like jump up and grab it. And like instead of like bulldozing him, I decided to take the easy way and like lean back. When I lean back, like I fall back, and when he comes down with his knees and like my back like this. So both his knees come down to my ribs.
Ooh.
And it ends up breaking 4 ribs, puncturing 2 holes in my lungs, and rupturing my spleen.
No way.
Yeah, that was it.
And
I went back and I thought I just got the breath knocked out of me. So, but
my
my breath like
God.
never came back.
So it
I'm
was like
laying
persisted.
in the dugout.
Like you were like, fuck. You're like, oh my God, something's wrong.
Yeah, and I'm like, it just kept happening, and like I couldn't, and like the inning ended or whatever. It's our turn to go back
You're
out.
supposed
So
to
I'm
go
like
out and
putting my
play.
glove on. I'm like. And the coach like looks at me. He's like, "Oh hell no!"
You're
And
probably going
he's
flush
like, "Hey,
and
you need to
green."
go get his parents." I'm just like, "What?" And like my dad comes in. He looks at me. I guess I'm like as white as a ghost. So he's like, "Oh shit, we got to go to the hospital now." So they put me in their car. They didn't even call the ambulance and just rushed me to the hospital. Like I passed out on the way there, but like I remember like him like when every time he would hit a bump, like I would just feel like cracking like in my chest. And then we get to the hospital, and I come to again, and then. Even after this, like it's a great story. All right, so hang on. So I get to the hospital. They give me the wrong wristband of a different patient. So I get back in the room, and the doctor comes in. He's like, "Don't worry, Cody. We're gonna take great care of you."
So you got a lot of acne, right? Was that what we're here
He's
for?
like,
Bad
"So,
acne.
Time to get rid of that penis, huh? I'm just like, what?
Switching it up, I see. Okay.
Yeah. He's like, all right.
Little young. All right.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So he's like, don't worry, we'll take care of you, Cody. And I'm like,
whatever, dude.
That's a shitty joke, dude. Like, is that supposed to be funny? And he's like, what do you mean? And he like looks at my wristband. He's like, Cody, so and so. I'm just like, oh no, that's not. No, dude, that's not me. So we have to get that switched out. Then they take me up to ICU, and I guess from like the spleen or whatever, they have to give me like a really strong antibiotic or something.
Yeah. What were you gonna get, like sepsis or something, like in dysentery?
I don't know.
Jesus.
Because I'm drugged up at that point, so I don't really know what's going on.
Feeling good?
Yeah, feeling great. And I have an allergic reaction to this drug, and it gives me red man syndrome.
What's that? Like you got to
It's
really good at rapping.
exactly
You're
what
funny in comedies.
Yeah.
You start hanging out with another guy that's kind of like you.
Yeah. This other dude had method man syndrome, and it was great.
They pair everybody up in the hospital like that.
It's really weird, yeah.
Every red man gets a method man. It's
like I
strange.
just moved the curtain, and I was like,
It's
oh,
like,
shit.
man,
He's like, I just got method
like,
man.
bro, it's like, let's smoke
Yeah,
weed
you
and
wanna
take
make
this
a movie
test.
called How High?
Yeah. Okay, anyway, sorry,
And,
go ahead.
yeah.
Red man syndrome, what is that?
Literally the medical term for what happened to me. and my skin just turned as red as a tomato. And
Okay.
like my hair immediately started falling out. And meanwhile, I'm hopped up on morphine, Nubane, all sorts of pain meds. But I look over and like, my parents and like the nurses and everybody's freaking out. And my heart rate is like 230.
Whoa.
And I'm just like, because that's how I found out I was losing hair. I was just like, oh my gosh. And like I looked down, like the hair's in my hand. I'm like,
your hair started coming out.
oh no. Yeah.
So you're like feeling crazy on the
But
drugs.
yeah, and I'm like looking
and things are going
I can
wrong.
see them, and I'm just like, this is not good.
Oh
So,
my God. You're
to,
17
like-
years old.
18.
18,
yeah.
okay.
I just turned 18.
Jeez.
And they have to like flush out my whole system. And then this is all, the same day. And then the doctor comes in after they get everything, I guess, whatever, normalized.
Yeah, they got you stable.
And he's like, is there anywhere else that's hurting? Blah, blah, blah. And like when I fell back, like I hit my tailbone. So I'm just like, I was like, my tailbone is hurting pretty bad. And he's just like, your tailbone? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, and he looks at the doctor and verbatim goes, go grab the KY. And I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
no.
no, dude.
What are you
And I'm like, are you really just going to call it that? Like, you can't, there's no medical
Get
term?
the
He's like, that's
medical-
what we use. And I was just like,
Get that KY.
dude.
You're like, hey, bitch, get that. You like said it very unprofessional.
And this dude is about 5'4", 300 pounds.
like
dude,
out of shape for sure, right? He's not in
He
shape.
had fingers the size of pool noodles.
Oh no!
So I'm like, this couldn't be a worse situation. So he's like, he has me lay on my side, like in the fetal position. And right when he's about to go insert on me, the knock comes to the door. My parents had called our pastor from our church, and he shows up. Like right as he's about to stick his finger in my ass.
Is this like a Chevy Chase movie?
It's
What's
I swear,
happening right
like
now?
the way this happens, I'm like, this is the
the
worst day
priest
of
taking
my
off
life.
his hat and his coat, and the doctor's like,
Yeah. And he walks in, he's like, "Oh, I can come back." I'm just like, "That'd be nice, thanks." Like,
Thanks, Pastor.
Please get out. Nice to see you. Please just pray for me.
"Thanks, Reverend."
And he, so he finishes up, but when he does, when he pulls out, like I shit myself.
No
And,
way.
Yeah, well, I'm on. You got to think about it. Like
So
I'm on
hold
all
on,
sorts
hold
of
on,
pain
hold on.
medication. He sticks his finger in there to check to see if I've broken my tailbone or whatever. Honestly, if you're a doctor and that's not how they do it, please let me know that I didn't just get that for no reason whatsoever.
This is such an incredible journey.
Yeah, so he does that, and then so I shit myself, and then I'm expecting him, like clean it up, and he just like takes his gloves off, and the nurse, who is very attractive, comes in and is like, "Uh-oh, looks like we had an accident." And I'm
That
just like, dude,
happens. That
just
does happen.
Shoot me in the back of the head. Then after that, I spent like 2 weeks altogether in the hospital, like rehabbing.
So were you not able to play
And they gave
in the
me
spring?
vancomycin. They almost gave me vancomycin again, the antibiotic.
Oh, they almost fucked up.
My dad just happened to ask him what
What are you
IV
giving
bag
him?
thing they were putting up, and they told him vancomycin.
like,
I
"You
watched my
fucks."
dad snap on a nurse and
You
like
can't
throw
give
them
him
out of
that.
the room.
Oh my god!
So I'm still
my
drugged
parents,
up.
Yeah, my parents would have lost their mind. So could you not play in the spring because you were still out of injured, or was it because that he was like, "Fuck you"?
I didn't get, because it was something to do with like the spleen. Like I kept having to get like it checked, and I had to go back a lot for that. And no, I could have played in the spring, but like I was out for so long, and like after that, and the spring before that, I ended up with mono, so I couldn't play that.
Wow.
So I was like, dude, I don't even want I'd already lost my position to somebody else. And I was like, dude, fuck this. I don't want to play anymore.
Did you ever talk to
I
that
just went and
coach
partied.
about the interaction before you got injured? Did you ever have a conversation with him after about what he had said to you and what happened?
Oh, no.
You
I've
never
had
talked
that
about it?
conversation with him.
That would be such a great, I wonder what he felt in that moment when he was like, at first, it's like, oh, he took a bad. So when you ran, you were running, you tried to slow up and you fell, and the guy came
don't
down
know.
on your ribs. With
Dude,
his
it
knees.
happened so fast.
But that's
I don't
kind
know
of what happened.
how. Because JR, the guy that was the first baseman, I know him. We played baseball growing up. He
In,
just
same
happened to be
city?
on a different high school team.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, after he lands on me, he gets up. I'm like, you good? And he's just like, yeah, you good? I'm like, dude, fine.
I don't think I'm good.
I'm good. No, I'm good, man. Just how you were. And it was weird, because having holes in your lungs, every time I would breathe, it was like a whistle.
You heard the wheeze?
Yeah, it was like, I'm just like,
whoa.
And like you could feel like, I don't know, like I could feel like cold going into my lung when I was breathing.
Is blood?
But not from here, but like from in there.
Was it blood, do you think?
I don't know.
Oh my, or air. It's probably air. Yeah, it's probably was it. That's so insane.
And throwing up blood with broken ribs is probably the worst thing ever. Because you can't do anything about broken ribs. They're
Dude,
like, yeah, sorry.
I should have gone first.
Okay, but yeah, go ahead.
Incredible
sorry, like I was
story
like out of this.
Not only one of the most incredible baseball stories, that's
The
one of the
way
most
it
incredible
continued
stories
after
ever.
that, yeah.
Go ahead. Is it not over?
No, that's it. But like after the injury was like the least worst part of the story because it just kept getting progressively worse.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I'm so ready for this day to end.
That's so you're in arguing with your coach, you're refusing to bunt because of the hit. I mean, who knows? I mean, that injury wouldn't have happened.
Had
if
that
you,
not happened, I would have gone pro for sure.
For sure.
Or at least JUCO.
That's
at the
just
very
so
minimum.
crazy that you're still like the injury happens. It's so severe. You're in the hospital, wrong wristband. They give you the wrong antibiotics. You have a whole other thing. Your heart rate's going. You could die. They almost give it to you again. Still no baseball in the spring. I mean, at least you played in high school.
But I went to spring
dude.
break, so that was great.
Instead of playing in baseball,
and that's
you
why
would
I
have
just
to go.
started getting hammered and started getting into drugs and
It
stuff
all
for a long
worked
time.
out good in the end.
Yeah,
I thought my story was good. My story is good next to other stories. No, that's the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life.
That's the most insane thing that's happened to me in life.
God, dude, that story's gonna do. One day you're gonna do that bit on stage, and that like when you're doing more time, that's gonna carry you for like 30 plus minutes of an act. You could tell that story for 30 minutes. That's an incredible story. Like what a blessing. That's what I love about stories. Is it like I'm sure you for me
when
it's
that
like
happened,
I'm just
it
thinking
ruined everything. But now like looking back, I'm like, oh, it's a great story. Because like that's all I did. Like growing up, I played baseball my entire life. And like I didn't really get released until like to even like exercise and stuff until when spring season had already started. And I was in like I had like two JUCOs, talk to me my junior year before mono. But then after that, like nobody cared. I was like, I'm not going to go play if I'm not going to.
Yeah, I gave up on baseball way quicker than that. I was like always like bottom of the lineup. My story, we were just in the Little League World Championship, and I was going to be the last out to lose the game.
Okay.
And I had hit a triple earlier in the game. This was a little after that. This was 2 years maybe after I hit off the hands thing. It was like my age out of Little League. So it was like I was pretty sure it was the last game I was ever going to play. And we were down in like the Little League Championship, you play like a 3-game series. It's like if you lose twice, you're done.
Did you play in Little League, like the actual league?
Yeah, like in the Little League, City Little League.
Okay.
No, not we would if those Little League World Championships.
That's the same league that you played in, right? It is,
but you would to compete in that you have to make the All-Star team. So those competitions are like my league of my age group. They would select like 11 kids that were the best
to be like that, and then go to that.
But they would do two. They do like a East and a West. There's no East and West. It's just like they would pick 22 kids,
this is Middle
and then
Tennessee.
Those kids would play, and whoever won that series tournament would got to be the one that represented our city. So it was kind of fucked up. It was National League and American League, like it is in real baseball. Obviously, that's what it was.
At least in the West.
Yeah. So it sucked if you were a really talented kid that made the opposite, in our city.
They just happened to be on.
We always shot ourselves in the foot with the Little League Championship because we never took a team of all the best kids. We took half the best kids because we had to create two teams that had the kids spread separately. And the team that won, it was like two teams of good kids, but they never combined a super team, which our city was really good with baseball, but a lot of kids played.
That's why a lot of kids, like Little League, or go ahead.
No, they made it one year. They went to Williamsport, and they did okay, but I was never good enough. But I was always on a team.
Wait, Tennessee did?
No. I'm from Kentucky. It was 1 year.
That explains it.
I mean, Tennessee gets a team that goes every year, but it's just like, is it going to be the Nashville West City League or the Jefferson County? It's like every state, I'm pretty certain gets, because then you go to your
in the region.
Every state has like a tournament where your parks goes and you play these guys, and that's how you get out of the state. If you win the state, you get to go to Williamsport and play.
Yeah.
And then,
South
they lost
America
in the first.
Kills you every time.
Well, that's what's crazy is they make those kids all play each other. It's like America on one side and world on the other side.
So like Japan and Korea and the
Yeah.
Bahamas, they all play each other. They don't play the Americans until it's like world best versus American best.
Yeah,
which
it's
is
like, we
still
didn't
kind
even
of
prove
weird.
anything. We just get that because
I wish they
America.
would. They probably only do that for TV ratings. Like if America gets fucked up in the rating one year, it's like who's gonna watch? It's like we're done. We're like,
It's like, all
we
right,
got
well, they
swept.
didn't make it. They got run ruled in the.
It's like every American team is just
Yeah.
getting
It
killed.
was
Jackie
over in
Robinson
the
West
fourth
has
inning.
no. Yeah, it's just they're just
That was
run
it.
ruling these kids.
These kids cried. So what happened? So your
yeah.
last event.
So I was on a team with a bunch of all-stars, the kids that were going to go on. So they're going to keep playing their baseball career. They're not paying that much attention to the game. But
Yeah.
I'm going up, and I'm nervous because it's like bottom of the inning. We had already lost the first game, and this is the second game. So if
This
we
is your
lose,
moment.
and it's 6-5, we're only one run down, and it's the bottom of the last inning, and we were whatever. It was the end of the game, potential last at bat, and it's the best pitcher in the league that I'm facing. I had already faced the second best pitcher in the league at the beginning of the game. They had both of them, and I hit a triple off him. And then I struck out another one, so I'm back up. 2 outs, it's all on
I'm
me,
trying
right?
to think about how this is gonna go. So
I
but
hit
go
it.
ahead.
I hit another triple.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
nice.
awesome.
Oh,
So
that's-
everybody, the vibe. I was not beloved on that team because I don't know how it works in your little league. When you got to like minor league or major league, it's like you were on the team once young, and then you were on it for another year
it's the
older.
2 years,
right?
yeah.
You do this. This is my second year on this team, and we had lost our head coach because he aged out with his
he
dad
had
and
a
whatever.
freaking problem.
his kid wasn't on the team anymore.
Yeah.
So we had another younger kid. His dad was the coach, and he was an asshole. And he always like they
He
did that
had a
thing.
drinking problem.
He probably did. He did that thing where he would get all his son's friends to sign the waiver, like they had to come to practice together because they didn't have rides. So he like stacked the team with like his kids' friends. So and he only paid attention to those kids, and I wasn't very good, so they didn't get a lot of love. So when I'm going up to bat, everybody in the dugout's like it's like a funeral. It's like it's over. It's like our season's over.
This
There's
is
no
it.
luck. That's it. Except for 2 guys who I still remember to this day, Jesse Middleton and Spencer Stone, who were all stars, my age, really good. And they
people.
played baseball forever. And they were like, you can do this. They were like, you can go up there.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
you could. They were like, you got to do it for us. It's like I was the last guy in the lineup. They're like, if you get a hit, just get on
you were
base or
number 9?
walk. Yeah, I was the last guy in the lineup. Normally I'm on the bench, so I just happened to be in the game, So I was just the last guy that I had to bat. It just sucks. That's how my whole baseball career felt. It's like I have to bat now. Now that's by rule they have to let me go. I was one of those kids.
And
So
the
like
coach is like, "Who's?"
I know. So I'm up there, and I could feel
All right, David.
It's a nighttime game. The lights are on, and I'm like, I was
it's
so
showtime.
nervous. I felt everything's quiet. I felt so alone, so scared, dude. And I hit it. It was like one of the I might have took a striker or something like that.
Yeah.
But I saw the look. He knew the quality of player I was, the pitcher. And when
Yeah.
I hit it, it bounced right in front of the pitcher's mound and then flew into center field. Like I took a huge hop from right in
nice.
front of the mound. And I saw the look on his face when it went over his head. He was like, fuck. And I was like, I was ecstatic.
You just ran straight into the outfield.
Ran. No, and I got all the way to third. And I remember
Nice.
when I got back around, we were in the third base dugout. So it must have been the top of the inning because we were batting first, I guess.
Uh-huh.
So, but we still would have lost if we didn't score in the inning. So everybody, the dugout's going crazy. First batter comes up. The kid, one of the kids that sucks he's really good, but I hate him. He's friends with the coach.
Like he sucks at life.
Yeah, he grounds out to second base and we lose 6-5.
What a douche.
But
Hey, if you're that kid,
he cried.
way to fucking ruin it.
He burst into tears. He's crying.
bet he
Everybody,
did.
but I was like, that almost was better because I had won little league regular season titles before on other teams. Like I had won.
But
I
watching
got
him
really
cry
lucky.
was just
Well, knowing that it was
the
like
tips.
I did it and you didn't. We didn't lose because of me. We lost because of you.
Yeah.
And they
Hell
always
yeah.
give you love and bring you up, and they let you play all the time. And you're younger than me, and they make me sit on the bench, and they know it could be my last. It was the age range where it's like if the kids are not very good at baseball, it's probably the last time they're ever going to play, and they know that.
yeah, because
So
it's
he
like
just wouldn't-
travel ball after that.
Right, you have to play like the senior league or get into playing in your school. And my school didn't have a 6th grade baseball team, so it was like only 4 kids got to play starting out. So like it was like a big
Yeah,
hit. Every
that's
year was
weird.
weird making the 7th grade team because you would get like you would have to replace the whole team like every year. Every year it's like when the
Yeah.
7th graders go to the
That's
8th grade,
wild.
you have no feeder program. It was a
So
weird way to
7th
do
grade
it.
was like the JV and
Yeah,
8th
they
grade
only
was
took a
varsity.
couple 6th graders. So yeah, dude, and I remember I was so proud of myself. And I remember what was so made me feel really justified was in the post meeting, like in the game in the dugout, right? We do a meeting with the coach. He's like, good season, all that. It was a good game. And he starts calling out people that did well. He was like, this guy did good in the pitching and this guy a couple hits, and he didn't say anything about me. And then it was either one of those kids, Jesse, or the assistant coach. I can't remember which one. And they speak up and they're like, "What about David? David hit 2 triples in the game," and he was like, "Oh yeah, what, and moved on past it." And I was like, "That's right, you fucking bitch. That's the kind of person you are."
better look at me.
I was like, I had the best game on the team, and I'm the last batter in the lineup, and you didn't even remember because that's how much you don't like me. And even as a kid, being 12 years old, I was like, I know, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
I was like, it's like it's not a question anymore.
Yeah.
Because when you're a kid, you're insecure. I was like, maybe it's because I suck. I was like, maybe it's my fault. Maybe if I was better at baseball, people would like me.
He's coaching Little League baseball because he has nothing else in his life. His wife left him. He's an alcoholic.
He had a good
son
family.
Hates him. No,
He
you
had a
don't
good
know
family.
that. I bet he doesn't now.
He probably doesn't now. He's an asshole.
Yeah. How'd
Steven,
that work out for you?
I can't remember his name. His
Steven?
last name's Willoughby. Steven is his son.
How'd that work out, Steven? How's your dad?
No. Steven's the older brother. Grant's the son that was on my team. I don't know the dad's name. Can't remember his name. But yeah, that guy's a piece of shit. My dad hated him. Everybody
I hope
hated
that's not my doctor. Is it Dr. Willoughby?
He's in Kentucky. He's not around.
Okay.
He's not around. Yeah, dude. But I'm glad you had a way better experience in baseball than I had.
I wouldn't say that was way better, but
I mean, you got to
Sounds like
play
you got
for
a
a
pretty good-
long time. I mean, just
Oh,
in your
yeah,
career.
yeah.
It's like you got to play for a lot longer. I just started playing music after that. That was it. But
no, that's good. See, I wish I'd have done that.
Well, dude, I think this is a good enough. We did good. I'm so happy you were here.
Thanks
for
having
coming
me.
on.
Yeah,
It's
this
like,
was
hey,
great.
guys.
Thanks so much for coming back to the podcast. Matt Taylor was so good. Everybody give it up for Matt Taylor.
Hey,
yeah.
thank you guys. It's good to be here.
Do you want to plug anything? Do you want to say anything about your social media stuff, your shows you got going on?
You can just follow me, short for Matthew. That's spelled out FOR, short for Matthew, on Instagram, Twitter. I don't really use Twitter that much, but feel free. I got shows once a month. Second Monday of every month is Smokes and Jokes at Liquid Smoke. Last Thursday of every month is Comedy by the Creek at Sinking Creek Farm. Yeah. That's what I was waiting on. Yeah,
You're waiting on a couple.
little Barry White.
I'll ad lib.
And
Yeah.
that's
Sinking Creek Farm. No plural.
Yeah, not plural.
Not
All right,
plural.
yeah, that's all I got.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming by. Matt Taylor's a great guest. Make sure you come back next week. We're going to have, I think we got my friend Ben Thomason, which you would have no idea who that guy is. He's not a comedian. So I'll see you guys next
Nice.
week. And thanks for coming to my room. I'm David Chasteen. Good night.